Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We are ready to roll. It's Jake Sanson here in the commentary box once again at the Catedromo Internacional Lucas Guerrero as we battle away for supremacy. We're going to have an absolutely sensational day of motorsport as the kart racers are battling away. It is mini, junior and senior in the X30 categories as we're going to have very exciting battles throughout the day. Don't forget that after yesterday's 22 encounters, at least 15 of which could easily have been the final, they were so exciting. At the end of today, 3 drivers are going to walk away from Valencia as the IAME Winter Cup title winners to follow in the footsteps of some amazing athletes over the last 3 seasons. This is the 4th annual running of this event, and oh my goodness, is it going to be an exciting one. Jake Sanson here from the commentary box position overlooking the start-finish line, and we are in for some thrillers all day long. The second chance heats are going to kick us off. 30 drivers from each of the classes have already automatically qualified for the pre-finals. There are now just 6 spaces available in each race, and they are the ones that we are going to focus on first of all. It's been a thrilling weekend up to this point, but now comes the moment of reckoning for a lot of young drivers out there. First of all, it is Marius Barryberg who will line up from pole position, the young Norwegian talent who will go from the inside of the front row. Matt Corby, the Swiss ace, will be second on the starting grid. From third, it'll be Eduardo Dominguez for the Praga España Motorsport squad. Rodrigo Seabra will be fourth for Dino Motorsport, the Wolf of Portugal. In fifth, it is Jesse Phillips for the Oliver Rowland Motorsport team, their first weekend in the IAME Euro paddock. And Alfie Slater will line up alongside him on the third row of the starting grid. Brother Freddie is already a title winner. Alfie could do it if he can get himself into the final. Arthur Valsort from 7th on the starting grid on the 4th row, and alongside the Belgian is Freddie Housby of the Piers Sexton Racing Team. Fast in testing means he has a great chance to shoot up to the front. Thomas Behrman, the KR Sport young gun, and their first mini in IAME Euro. He's going to be a very exciting prospect to watch as the years flow through. And another of the Portuguese stars for the RAC team on the Charles Leclerc chassis, it is Martin Marquez, who will battle away from 10th. Marie Barryberg for the Barryberg Motorsport squad will be there in 11th position, and she will be alongside the Portuguese talent for crop promotion, that is Pedro Cachara. Then on the 13th position spot on the grid, the very unfortunate Michelle Tayati, who lost out in her second heat because the kart broke down on the way to the rolling lap. But she will be back to her best again in this race, no doubt. And alongside her on the grid will be Dino Motorsport's other young Portuguese star, Lorenzo Campos. And it's going to be interesting to see which of these 6 drivers from the 14 are going to progress through to the mini final. It's only the second time in IAME Euro history that we have had a second chance heat for minis. The first of those was Castelletto last season during the IAME Euro Series itself. For a lot of these drivers, this will be their first time in such an incredible environment, and they are all ready to go to battle in what is already promising to be a very exciting trio of races in the second chance heat. We had so much drama and intensity on the circuit yesterday that we're going to have a lot more to speak about as the day goes on. All of these drivers have been working very hard since the start of the week, and they want to be there at the sharp end when the checkered flag falls. But only 6 of these competitors can continue their journey after the 7 laps of second chance racing they will get to do. And it's not going to be easy to predict who's going to get there. But of course, they know exactly what lies ahead of them. It will be tough, it will be brutal, but it comes down to their resolve and their determination. These guys have been here several times before in their local, regional and national scenes. Now here on the world stage in the IAME Winter Cup, this is pressure cooker time. But it's all going to come down to who has the best resolve, mentality, tactics, strategy and speed to continue their journey. For the others, it will be a very sorry goodbye, but hopefully they will return for the IAME Euro Series itself when it kickstarts at Marienburg in Belgium at the end of March. Don't forget, the winner of this weekend's activities will not only win a ticket to the IAME International Finals in October, which is what every IAME X30 driver around the world wants to win, but also a free entry into the IAME Euro Series itself, where drivers can, of course, over the course of the year, win a stellar prize, which will not just be a ticket to the IAME International Finals for winning the IAME Euro Series, but also entry to the Superkarts USA Super Nationals in Las Vegas. What a season it could be for 1 or 2 lucky drivers in the field. And it's great to see just how incredible the racing season could be. I've been talking to plenty of drivers and mechanics through the course of the weekend, with a few of them saying this is actually one of the most important racing weekends in an IAME X30 driver's season, because what happens here determines so much of what happens in the 2020 season. The top 3 drivers win entries to the IAME Euro Series, 1 free race for the third place man or woman, and 2 free entries for the driver in second place, but the winner of this title gets an entire IAME Euro Series pass, and that really can dictate how the rest of the season can go for one lucky driver in each class. And of course, they get a ticket to the big show in the IAME International Finals, which is the global competition for all IAME X30 competitors around the world. A ticket to that is like Christmas coming early, and they all want to receive it. Only 3 of them can. Last season, in the 2019 competition, it was Freddie Slater in Mini, Oliver Behrman in Junior, and Dean McDonald in Senior, and all 3 took their rightful place on the IAME International Finals grid last year. A handful of them even walking away with a title. In 2020, things will be different. In the Mini category, there have been 3 very valiant and worthy champions over the years. In 2017, it was Maximus Meyer, who is now one of the senior competitors. In 2018, it was Miguel Pero Luzaraga, who is now part of the junior category with ENTMC Motorsport. And last season, it was Freddie Slater, who is now already out of the blocks and fast and furious in junior. In 2020, we'll crown a new Mini title winner, but who's it going to be? 6 of these drivers are about to find out who it's going to be. Marius Barryberg and Matt Corby out at the front end of the field as they go out onto the circuit from Eduardo Dominguez and Rodrigo Seabra, Jesse Phillips and Alfie Slater from Alto Valsort and Freddie Housley, Thomas Behrman and Martin Marquez from Marie Barryberg, Pedro Cachada, Michel Tayati, Lorenzo Campos. There is no Jose Pinheiro. He was originally entered, but unfortunately he couldn't continue the weekend. But for these 14 drivers, there are just 6 places available. They have come from all over Europe to be here, from Scandinavia, from the Mediterranean, and from the United Kingdom, as well as from France, Belgium, Italy. It is a very exciting battle that awaits them now, though, because all of these 14 competitors have got just one race to prove themselves, one race to put themselves into the finals competition. 30 places have already been taken. There are 6 more available, and there will be 36 competitors that will bid for the ultimate crown here this weekend. IAME Winter Cup winner. And of course, with that comes the tickets to the IAME International Finals and a free pass to the IAME Euro Series, one of the biggest international X30 competitions worldwide. So out of the chicane at the end of their first exploratory lap, you've got to remember that these competitors are not here because they weren't good enough to get through to the top 30. It is a very tough battle in this category. There are so many outside factors that could determine a race driver's weekend. Fortune doesn't always favour the brave. Sometimes you've just got to go with the luck of the draw. And these guys and girls have had it very tough over the course of the week. They have put their hearts and souls on the line and their mentality to the test. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do in this final race that will only give 6 drivers a chance to progress. But all of them are winners out there. They have represented their countries, their teams and their sponsors in fine form out here at Valencia. And they have earned the right to march into this racetrack with their heads held high and wearing their nation's flag on their overalls. So they come down to the back straight, and it'll be Marius Barryberg, the Norwegian, on pole position, from Switzerland's Matt Corby, then Eduardo Dominguez of Spain and Portugal's Rodrigo Seabra, then Jesse Phillips and Alfie Slater, the 2 Brits from Alto Valsort, and fellow Brit Freddie Housley. Thomas Behrman is there as well from Martin Marquez, and then Marie Barryberg, Pedro Cachada, Michel Tayati and Lorenzo Campos. 14 of them in the list. Only 6 can go through. Who's going to get there first? Let's find out. It's going to be a false start on this occasion. So a false start, they'll go around again. Now for a lot of these drivers, this is new territory as well, because they've not all had experience of running from the front end of the field either. So this is going to be a new experience. It's one of the reasons that the second chance heat is such a good opportunity for these youngsters, because they obviously get experience of racing wheel to wheel at the front end of the field. It's a tough thing to fight for victory, and these guys know it better than most. But for these just over a dozen drivers, one more than a baker's dozen, it's going to be an absolutely thrilling battle. They all want to cross the line first, but all of them want to cross the line at the very minimum in the top 6. because that means their weekend will continue. If it doesn't, then at least they gave it their best shot. So on the back straight, Marius Barryberg, Matt Corby, Eduardo Dominguez and Rodrigo Seabra from Phillips and Slater, Valsort and Housley, Behrman, Marquez, Barryberg, Cachada, Tayati and Campos. And this time they are much better form than they were the previous lap around. Marius Barryberg on the inside line, Matt Corby on the outside line. They will dictate the pace. And this is going to be the toughest 7 laps of their weekend. This time it's a good start and we're away. Cracker from Marius Barryberg as he gets straight into the lead. No problem at all for Eduardo Dominguez. He launches into second place. Corby tucks into third. Seabra in fourth place. No problem at all from Phillips and Slater. Looks as though Slater has made the jump on Jesse Phillips though, so he's up in a 5th position. Good start as the field works its way through the chicane. Nice and clean so far. But Rodrigo Seabra has now lost out to Alfie Slater. He's come up into 4th position and he really wants to be in that top 6, emulating his brother 12 months ago. Freddie Slater took a win in minis last year. This year Alfie would like to do so in the second chance heat to get himself into the game. And up the inside, that is a lovely move from the Euro karting machine of Alta Valsort. So Alta Valsort gets himself up into the position past Thomas Behrman and onto the tail of Rodrigo Seabra. So Seabra is currently in 5th position behind Alfie Slater as the 4 leading karts start to stretch away. But this is the pressure cooker. Alta Valsort is trying to get the move already on the inside of Seabra. Seabra is not going to let him have it. He keeps the door firmly shut down the main straight. And so far so good for Marius Barryberg, the Norwegian. He remains in the front from Dominguez, but Corby gets up the inside line and so does Alfie Slater. So Corby through to 2nd, Alfie Slater to 3rd, Dominguez down to 4th, then it's Seabra, and the last seat so far is currently held by Alta Valsort, but Thomas Behrman is there in 7th, up 2 places. So the battle goes on. It's not going to be easy. Corby, Slater and Dominguez are there in 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Then Seabra leads the train battling for 5th position. Only 2 places available if you are in 5th position downwards. But there's still a battle to go on up the road as well. It's not clear cut that Marius Barryberg is going to get this race won, despite the fact he's leading it at the moment. Marius Barryberg from Matt Corby and Alfie Slater, then Eduardo Dominguez. Alta Valsort gets past Rodrigo Seabra and gestures to the field. Come on, let's work together and go after the guys in front. Corby's going for the lead on Barryberg. He hasn't been able to get there yet, but Matt Corby is already starting to think about it. As up to 3rd has come Alfie Slater, we know. Corby drifts a little bit sideways. Slater's going to get another opportunity down the main straight. And as they complete the 2nd lap, 5 to go, Slater's going to pop out and have a look up the inside. He'll commit to the move. Corby trying to shut him down and does so successfully. Drifts a little bit wide on the exit of the apex. But Marius Barryberg going well in the front of the field at the moment. Slater under pressure from Dominguez, but still giving heat to Corby. Into the right-hand hairpin and then tucking away into the left. Good work from the top 4 so far. The pressure is high as Thomas Behrman has got into the top 6 now. He's got past Rodrigo Seabra. So Behrman is now in the top 6. And down the short stretch to the hairpin, Dominguez having a little look at Alfie Slater, who holds the door firmly closed. Nicely done there from young Alfie. 3rd position for the moment. And that will be enough to get him through. Jesse Phillips struggling in the mid-pack there as he battles away with Pedro Cacharo and Michel Tayati. And Michelle Tayati is trying to come through and take the position. In fact, I think she's not far away from doing so. Jesse Phillips battling with Freddie Housley down the back straight now. And Marius Barryberg is trying to hold on in front of Matt Corby, Alfie Slater and Eduardo Dominguez. Alta Valsort is having all sorts of fun in 5th position as now we've got Freddie Housley making his bid up the inside of Behrman, and Housley gets into 6th position. Seabra gets past Behrman too, and Jesse Phillips tries to get through on the inside line. But Freddie Housley just picked up 2 karts in one there to go from 8th position to 6th, and now he's up on the inside. That's Behrman through on Seabra. So now Freddie Housley is in the box seat to get through. 6th position would do. It would put him on the back of the grid for the pre-final, but that's good enough to continue. Meanwhile, Behrman, Seabra and Phillips are having a terrific squabble for 7th place. But it's not done yet for 2nd as Alfie Slater is still trying to edge Matt Corby a little bit closer to Marius Barryberg. The Norwegian still leads. We're on the halfway point now of the race. Halfway round lap 4 in a 7-lap race will do for half distance. So it's Marius Barryberg up in front. Matt Corby 2nd from Alfie Slater and Eduardo Dominguez. It looks like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic battle. So the top 6 drivers in the race, the top 6 will go through. So it's those 6 drivers that we need to be focusing on. And in 6th position at the moment is Freddie Housley, already starting to make a bid on Out of Our Sort. Meanwhile, Corby and Slater having an absolutely terrific battle. So far, it's going to be an absolute thriller. And Freddie Housley has got into 5th position past Out of Our Sort. So the top 6 drivers will go through. And up the inside, Freddie Housley is having an amazing battle. Still trying to fend off from Out of Our Sort. Absolutely terrific stuff so far. But Freddie Housley hangs on to 5th place. Alfie Slater's through to 2nd, by the way. Slater's got through into 2nd place past Matt Corby. At least he did at the sector. But Corby has got back through again. So a great little tussle between those two. And that's allowed Corby and Slater to get a little bit closer. With assistance from Eduardo Dominguez, of course, to move up. Seabra's lost out to Phillips on that occasion. So Phillips up to 8th place. And 2 places away from qualification for the pre-final. But these top 4 drivers are still mighty close. Anything could still happen. You can't afford to give up. Even if you're in 8th or 9th place, you never know what's coming. 2 laps to go at the end of this one. Matt Corby kicks the curb a little bit there, and Freddie Housley is having to swarm around all over the place to keep Out of Our Sort at bay. Meanwhile, Corby and Slater are working together to move forward. Freddie Housley going well in 5th position as he hangs on in front of the Belgian. Qualification looks good for these 2 at the moment, but they've got to be careful because Thomas Behrman in 7th is right there for the taking. Thomas Behrman hopping over the curbs in his attempts to move forward as Rodriguez Seabra gets back into position past Jesse Phillips, momentarily at least, and Phillips gets him back. Seabra has to defend to Tayati as Cachada now makes his bid to get on the inside of Michel Tayati. He has to hang back. The Portuguese flag resplendent on Pedro Cachada's overalls. But Marius Barryberg is running well at the front end of the field. The Norwegians still going strong. Corby and Slater having a great tussle with Eduardo Dominguez for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Down the back straight on the penultimate lap. Is there going to be one final push from the guys in 2nd and 3rd to take on Marius Barryberg? They've got to be careful. The top 4 are all safe and sound for the moment. The battle behind is where it's at. Housley is still struggling with Artur Valsort. Valsort's going to get alongside this time. He's a wheel alongside. They actually rub wheels as they get to the first corner, and Housley has to concede the place. Valsort gets through, but Housley is still in a good position. 6th place will be enough to get through, and he's been much more wily in terms of his racecraft this time. 7th place for Thomas Behrman is not quite going to be good enough. He could do with something happening up front. And between the top 4, it all looks pretty serene at the moment, so he might not get his wish. But Valsort and Housley still having a terrific battle for 5th, but both of them will qualify if they stay there. As it is the top 6 that goes through, and they are 5th and 6th at the moment. Thomas Behrman is pushing like crazy, trying to get himself into a position to go through. But it looks like he might miss out on this occasion. Down the back straight come the 4 leaders. Marius Barryberg, Matt Corby, Alfie Slater and Eduardo Dominguez. Here are the 9.15 and 9.36. Artur Valsort and Freddie Housley. Into the final turn though, the top 4 have decided to keep it nice and clean as they will all progress through now. Barryberg wins it, Corby 2nd, Slater 3rd, Dominguez 4th, and it's Artur Valsort and Freddie Housley that qualify. Wow, that was tight. That was very, very close indeed. But the top 6 that cross the line are the ones that go through. And it was always going to be a tough fight up front. But fair play to them. They kept it nice and clean. And they'll resume their battle now. Heading into the pre-final later. So for Marius Barryberg, Matt Corby, Alfie Slater, Eduardo Dominguez, Artur Valsort and Freddie Housley, their weekend continues. A good effort from Marius Barryberg. Under pressure all the way through that race. But he just maintained his speed. He never let it drift away. Marius Barryberg wins from Matt Corby and Alfie Slater, all of them covered by less than 2/10. Eduardo Dominguez in 4th from Artur Valsort and Freddie Housley. Sadly, it's game over for Thomas Behrman, Jesse Phillips, Michel Tayati and Rodriguez Seabra, from Pedro Cachada and Martin Marquez, Lorenzo Campos and Marie Barryberg. But still, an absolutely fabulous race in the second chance heat, and that's just the first of 3 of those races this morning. Well, there'll be disappointment and there'll be sadness amongst the 8 drivers who didn't quite make it through, but they can hold their heads high, full of respect and dignity. They raced valiantly in the last race of their weekend, and they did a thrilling job. Always fantastic to see them putting in a star effort, and they gave it as good as they've got. They'll be back. The IAME Euro Series is waiting for them at the start of the season in March at Marienborg in Belgium, and hopefully, I'm sure, they will have a thrilling run then. So now we move into the next race, which is going to be the junior second chance heat. and it's been quite an exceptional 3-4 years in the juniors over the years. Of course, the first ever Winter Cup was held back in 2017, and the victor on that occasion in the Junior Winter Cup was Mari Boya, who got the victory done in 2017. An absolutely fantastic first fillip for him. And obviously, it's always going to be very tricky when you've got a lot of people to battle with. Then, of course, we went into the 2018 season, and he got the job done again. The only person to win the Winter Cup twice in any category. That could change today, of course. There is a genuine opportunity for that accolade to change, because the man who won the Junior Winter Cup last year, Oliver Behrman, is going for the victory in the seniors this year, and he could equal Mari Boya's tally. But so far, the Spanish charge, Mari Boya, is the only driver in the IAME Winter Cup history to win a title more than once. So it's going to be interesting to see how that progresses. There will be a third different junior title winner, though, this year, because both Mari Boya and Oliver Behrman are in seniors. So whatever happens, we'll get a new title winner, and it'll be the third different winner of the Junior Winter Cup in the fourth running of the event. But now there are some drivers to battle for the second chance heat. And obviously, it's going to be a very close one. A lot more drivers competing in junior than in mini this year. 22 of them will be fighting for just 6 places. Expect drama, intrigue, and some absolutely majestic racing. There's going to be a very, very tough battle out there. Federico Scaldini will line up at the front of the starting grid as he goes off the front row. Borcaos will line up alongside him for the FA Racing Spain squad, and he will be there on the front row of the grid. Roma Andriolo for Racing Motorsport will be there in third position, and then it is Carbo Junior's Rodrigo Testa of Portugal who will line up in P4. For Dan Holland Racing, it is Brandon Templeton, who's had a very adventurous weekend so far, starting off the back for most of his heats, but he has made good progress. He's definitely not on the back for the second chance heat. He's there in 5th on the grid with a good chance to progress. Sergio Ruiz is there in 6th on the starting grid for Monlau Competition. And then it is AJ Sofronio for the crop promotion team, who is on the bubble at the moment, 7th on the grid for this one with 6 places available. And then for the Racing Academy and Competition squad on the Charles Leclerc chassis, it is Lorenzo Marquez for Portugal. Then it is Japan's Momo Sayo from the Dimes Racing team. The Japanese driver will line up alongside SG Driver's French charge, Elliot Subiru, who lines up in 10th. Then for Strawberry Racing in 11th on the grid, it is the Malaysian talent Raja Arif, and he is there alongside the Spanish star for Carbo Junior. That is Lucas Flusha. 13th on the grid for Pierre Sexton Racing, it is Mikai Singh, who's had an absolutely brilliant weekend since qualifying. Didn't set a single lap in qualifying, but has fought his way back and is now 13th on the grid for this second chance. He's had a tough weekend of it as well, so good to see him fight back. And then for the M2 Racing Kart squad, it is Eric Genet of Spain, who lines up in 14th. Enzo La Cruz is 15th for France. Francisco Costa 16th for Portugal. Excuse me there, folks. A quick sneeze. It happens occasionally. Enzo Soares is 17th on the starting grid for the EKR factory team. And then 18th on the grid is Gabriel Stilp for crop promotion. For the MDC squad, it is Juan Pasalagua in 19th on the grid alongside the Finn Jusso Laukkonen for Talvar Racing. And then the Frenchman Andy Estra is on the grid in 21st on the grid, with 22nd going to crop promotions, Ben Doughty. All 22 of them look to be in position, and of course, only 6 of them can progress through to the last race of the day. So it's going to be very interesting. The last 2 races of the day, I should say. The pre-final, of course, is the precursor before the final, and it's the race that sets the grid for the biggest race of their winter. So it's obviously going to be a very tough battle. All of the competitors know what's at stake here this morning. It's a chilly circuit out there. Obviously, it's going to get hotter as the day goes on. 10 degrees Celsius at the moment. Track temperature will probably be anywhere between 17 and 19 degrees Celsius on track. But the air temperature is a good 10 degrees at the moment. Still a little bit of wind in the air. And it's only going to get rougher through the day. Hopefully we won't quite have to deal with the levels of wind that we did 12 months ago. Although, of course, there are weather warnings back in the UK. So hopefully it's not going to be too big a difficulty for us here. Certainly we are predicted bright sunny skies. One of the members of our camera team, Oleg, told us that when there's a full moon, you get perfect weather. It certainly looks like we're going to have perfect weather today. I wonder where he holed that old wives' tale. Sounds like a fabulous weather system, but I wouldn't trust it myself. But the drivers are certainly ready to go. It's going to be a very exciting day on track, but it looks like one thing is for sure. It's going to be bone dry, certainly for the entirety of the morning. Whether it changes in the afternoon or not, we don't really know. But it's a perfect blue sky that greets us here in Valencia. There might be some strong winds to cope with though, and that of course is going to be one of the difficulties in terms of setup, because the drivers have been telling me one of the difficulties here is that on the back straight the winds can really unsettle you when you're trying to follow in the draft of another car. It can be very choppy, and that makes things a little bit more awkward to focus on. The biggest fear at the moment for our clerk of the course, of course, Martin Bede, is that he's up there on the gantry trying not to be blown over. But he's coped very well over the course of the last 48 hours, and he's done another fantastic job with coping with the conditions out there. He's got his jacket on, it's all fine. So the 22 drivers in the Junior X30 second chance heat have got just 6 slots available to go through to the second chance heat. To go through to the pre-final, I should say. 30 of them have already qualified, and you'll hear about those in a short while, but there are just 6 spaces available and 22 competitors going for them. So expect a lot of overtaking, a lot of battles. There might be a couple of fisticuffs out there as well, as drivers will obviously be putting every single ounce of passion, aggression, drama, steel into this race that they possibly can. There's only 6 spaces available, and even the top 6 on the grid are not guaranteed to go through. They start in the best position, but racing changes everything. On paper, you can predict all sorts of things, but in practice, it's very different. Here they come. Federico Scalvini and Paul Cayos will line up on the front row of the grid from Roma Andriolo and Rodrigo Testa. Brandon Templeton and Sergio Ruiz on the third row from AJ Sofronio and Lorenzo Marquez. Mono Sayo and Elliot Subaru, and then it's Raja Arif and Lucas Flusha. Mikhail Singh lines up beside Eric Genet, Enzo La Cruz and Francisco Costa from Enzo Soares and Gabriel Stilp, Joan Pasalagua and Jusso Laukkanen from Andy Estra and Ben Doughty. 22 competitors battling their way through the field today, and they're going to have quite the battle for the next 8 laps. 1,428 metres of circuit to race with, 8 times, and of course this is not going to be easy for the competitors, because there's so many drivers out there wanting the top 6. Several of them have proved they've had the speed to be there, but it's about the fortune as much as it is the speed. So they've got to make sure they put themselves in the best possible position. They'll have a certain strategy to get themselves into the gameplay, but it's never a guarantee. You can be in the best possible position to make... Oh, there's been a spinner on the formation lap, and that looked to me to be Raja Arif. So Raja Arif had a spin there on the formation lap. Now, I would say that's one of the more embarrassing things we've seen today, but then he's probably hoping I've forgotten, but Sean Butcher did manage to spin on his way out of the pit lane in the warm-up this morning. He was warming up the tyres and he lost the car completely before they'd even gone down the pit road. So there are a couple of nerves bubbling over here this weekend, and certainly that was a moment that Raja Arif will not reflect on with a lot of positivity, but as long as he can get himself back into position again, which he'll be able to now, then in theory he should be okay for the start of the race. But obviously 22 drivers bidding for 6 places on the grid is not going to be easy. So the drivers are now gearing up for a bit of a scrap out there. They know it's going to be a tough and intensive race, but everybody wants to be at the sharp end of the field, so they will be pushing everything they can. These 2 laps they will just spend warming up the tyres and brakes. They need to get to an optimum temperature for operation, and then they'll be ready to race. Now they are forming up on the back straight, 2 by 2, as they will run on their tram lines in the run up to the first corner. They're not allowed to leave the tram lines until the light goes out, and that can happen at any time on the rolling start. On the inside is Scalvini, on the outside is Cayos, then Andriolo, Testa, Templeton, Ruiz, Sofronio, Marquez, Sayo and Subaru, and we are away. Cracking start, no problem at all for Scalvini, and it's going to be Andriolo who's going to try and get up the inside line early doors. Paul Cayos running around the outside to hope that there's enough grip to counteract. He's going to drop to 4th position though, nothing he can do. Good start from Brandon Templeton. He's up into 3rd position, and the field goes through the chicane. Is everybody going to get through? A couple of drivers having to take to the curb, but otherwise a fairly sensible start actually from our junior competitors. And it's Scalvini who leads the way. Andriolo 2nd, Templeton is 3rd, and in 4th place is Paul Cayos. Pretty good start from Roman Andriolo and Templeton. They just followed in behind the race leader into the first couple of corners. Mikai Singh is already started to have a look at Lorenzo Marquez, and he gets there. Lovely move, and he's joined in by Lucas Flusha. So Singh and Flusha have made up a place apiece. Very nicely done as they come through onto the back straight. Scalvini, Andriolo, Templeton. Podkayos seems to have got himself back into third position, I do believe. Yes, he has. So Podkayos is back into third. Templeton is fourth. And in fifth place, that is Rodrigo Testa. Trying to get alongside, though, of AJ Sofronio is Sergio Ruiz. He's trying to get alongside. And is he going to get the move? Yes, he does. So Ruiz gets through on AJ Sofronio. And that, of course, is for sixth position. That is the bubble spot. So Sofronio is going to try and get himself back into position. There's a nice battle going on between Templeton and Testa up in front. So Templeton and Testa squabbling away for fourth position as Podkayos has got back into second place on Roman Andriolo. So Podkayos is back into P2. Templeton's going to go for the move on the inside of Andriolo. He wants to be safe and secure, and third will do that. Nicely done. Testa's trying to get himself up the inside there, and he goes round the outside of his countryman Sergio Ruiz. Beautifully done. In fact, no, that's Ruiz to get the move on Testa. My apologies. And Andriolo has slotted in between them. And then we have the Japanese star, Momo Sayo. So Momo Sayo is in there. Oh, and that's a problem there for Testa. Testa's overshot. So Testa has overshot at the chicane, and that has ruined his chances of finishing in the top six for the moment. He's got 6 laps to try and get back into position. But it's Scalvini, Gaios, Templeton, Ruiz, Andriolo and Sayo. Then just outside that crucial top six, it is Sofronio, Subaru, Singh, Flusha, La Cruz and Pasalagua. Singh trying to get up the inside. Oh, it's getting proper close between him and Subaru, and Lucas Flusha's trying to get there as well. Flusha can't quite get the move done, and as a result he loses out to Enzo La Cruz, the Frenchman. This race is going to have so many chapters in it over the course of the next 6 laps. That's a big bold move from La Cruz up on the inside, and the CRG of Pasalagua gets through as well. Some proper difficult racecraft being optimised here. So Pasalagua gets through, and that drops Lucas Flusha down to 12th position for the moment. But Mikai Singh is up to 8th. He's got past Elliot Subaru. So Enzo La Cruz and Johan Pasalagua are on the move. In fact, Pasalagua just make the move there on Momo Sayo. So Momo Sayo, oh no, sorry, that is not Momo Sayo, that is Elliot Subaru. So Enzo La Cruz gets past Elliot Subaru. Momo Sayo is still in the top 6 for the moment, the Japanese driver. And that's exactly where he needs to be. The man behind him is AJ Sofronio in 7th place. Podkayos sets the fastest lap, and that's why he's caught up to the back of Federico Scalvini. These two race together a lot in the Spanish Championship. Scalvini is actually Italian, but he races under a Spanish license because this is where he races his regular program. So Scalvini and Gaios know each other of old. Federico Scalvini for Fusion Motorsport out in front of Podkayos. They come through the long flowing right hand hairpin and onto the back straight. Federico Scalvini signalling to Podkayos, let's get away. I don't think Podkayos is going to want to play ball. He dives up the inside line. Scalvini has to defend, and Podkayos is giving him plenty to do as they come down the main straight. Podkayos is signalling to Scalvini, alright, let's walk together, let's get away. Sergio Ruiz now up into 3rd position. Good run from the Spaniard. So it's 3 Spanish licenses in the top 3, although Scalvini is Italian leading the way. Sergio Ruiz sets the fastest lap at 58.002. Templeton is 4th. Andriolo is 5th. Momo Sayo is in 6th place, and he is the danger man at the moment. He's there in 6th position. Mikai Singh has crept up to 7th place now. He has worked beautifully to get past La Cruz and Sofronio. So the Pierce Sexton Racing driver needs to catch up to the top 6, and he's getting on with it. A good run for Mikai Singh. Brilliant squabble just in behind on the outskirts of the top 10. You've got the likes of Sofronio, Subaru, then the 26 in there, of course, is Lorenzo Marquez. You've got Testa, Pasalagua, Flusha, and Raja Arif in there as well. Some great battles in the midfield. But it's the top 6 that we're focusing on. Scalvini is defending from Podkayos, and he needs to because Sergio Ruiz is closing up. And now there's 3 of them battling for the victory. But they know there's a whole catalogue of racing drivers out there trying to go for the victory. Podkayos just trying to edge Scalvini away from Sergio Ruiz. They do not want to get into a battle because that's how the guys behind get a chance to close up. Brandon Templeton has got Roman Andriolo behind him. There they are, 4th and 5th position. Momo Sayo is in 6th position as well. And in 7th place, Sergio Ruiz makes the move on Podkayos for 2nd. So Ruiz gets through into second position, past the Spanish FA Racing driver. That is Paul Cayos in third. Only just up to juniors after being a mini driver last year, Paul Cayos. Sergio Ruiz is well versed at junior racing, but he's had an awful weekend thus far. So now Paul Cayos tags onto the back of Ruiz as they try and close up on Scalvini with 2 laps to go. There's your top 6. The man who's catching them is Mikai Singh. Is he going to get a chance to get into the top 6 before the checkered flag falls? As Momosayo, the Japanese driver, has caught up to Roman Andriolo. Looks like there's been an incident further back. A couple of drivers out of position. A few places lost. So a big drop down the order for Sofronio and Pasalagua. And Elliot Subaru has fallen to the back of the field as well. What a shame for the Frenchman. So he's got into 1 or 2 incidents too many. But Andriolo is going to try and hold off Sayo, but Sayo gets through, the Japanese driver, into 5th position. That's definitely going to help his cause, being in 5th place. Sergio Ruiz, meanwhile, has caught right up to the back of Federico Scalvini. So the race leader is on the back straight, under pressure from Ruiz. There they are. And Ruiz is going to get right in behind Scalvini. Scalvini's defending like crazy. He doesn't need to. The top 6 will do as Andriolo gets back for Momosayo, and Ruiz and Cayos are going to challenge on the last lap. Cayos at the inside, he gets Ruiz, but Scalvini is blocking like crazy, trying to hold on to the victory. But even the top 6 would do. He can't be too defensive. Even going down to 2nd or 3rd would be enough. Mikai Singh sets the fastest lap. He's desperately trying to catch Momosayo, and he has done so. He's got 1 last lap to try and get into the top 6. There he is. We just saw him. Mikai Singh on the back of the Japanese star Momosayo. Oh, that's a spin. That's AJ Sofronio. Sofronio has spun it. Now, whether he was assisted to the scene of it or not, I don't know. But there's Mikai Singh trying to break into the top 6 on Momosayo. He's got the run on the inside line, and he's there. Mikai Singh takes 6th position on the last lap. That's his last gasp ever to get in, and he's made it. Also, the crew's trying to come around the outside. You never know what could happen. The Cruz is going to try, but he's too far back. Scalvini's going to take it just from Cayos and Ruiz. Templeton 4th, Andriolo 5th, and Mikai Singh has fought his way back into 6th position. From dead last in qualifying, Mikai Singh has broken clear as Lorenzo Marquez crawls across the line after an incident of the final lap. But the hero of the hour in the second chance heat is the number 17, Mikai Singh, fighting tooth and nail to get into the final, and he has done so. What a fight back from Mikai Singh. Truly brilliant. But it was always going to be very tough. It was always going to be quite close. But he's done it. Federico Scalvini from Paul Cayos and Sergio Ruiz. Brandon Templeton, Roman Andriolo and Mikai Singh are the 6 that progress. Bad luck for Enzo La Cruz, Momosayo, Rodrigo Testa, Roger Arif, Eric Jenny and Jusso Laukkanen. From Gabriel Stelp and Andy Estra, Ben Doughty fought back to 15th from Francisco Costa and Lorenzo Marquez, Elliot Subaru, AJ Sofronio, the first of the retirements, along with Enzo Soares, Lucas Flusha and Joan Pasalagua. Some very tough race manoeuvres out there, some big fights and some big battles, but it's always going to be a tough one. But the 6 drivers that progress thoroughly earning their spots. Well, guess what? We get to do it all over again now because it's the last second chance heat of the weekend, and that is for the seniors. There are some big names that have not been able to progress beyond this point, and so it's going to be a very tough race for all of them. Pole position goes the way of the EKR factory squad driver, Ivan Bataya, one of the local favourites. And he is there on the front row of the starting grid for this one, alongside his countryman for the TD Kart Marlon squad, and that is, of course, Erbelt Moore, who's had all sorts of bad luck through the weekend. He is there on the front row of the grid for the second chance heat. Then it is Arnaud Melizia, the Frenchman, will line up in 3rd position, the privateer. And in 4th on the grid for Kart Republic Spain, another man who had to start the weekend from the back of the grid after problems in qualifying is Alejandro Schimpf, and he is not far away from booking his place back into the finals again after an amazing fight back through the weekend. Hugo Belder is in 5th position at the moment for ENTMC Motorsport. Then it is Rivaldo van der Westerleken, the Dutchman, is in 6th position on the grid, on the outside of row 3. Then it is Canada's Jason Young for Strawberry Racing. He is there in the 7th position on the grid. And then alongside him is going to be the KR Sport female, Alicia Barrett, having had a very tough weekend, her first with the KR Sport team, but she's still at the sharp end, fighting fit, and is just 2 positions away from booking her place in her first Senior X30 pre-final with the team. On the 5th row of the grid, it is Edward Ports, the American, for Strawberry Racing. He'll be there on the inside of the 5th row, and alongside him on the grid is going to be Kart Republic Spain's Adrian Schimpf. So both of the Kart Republic Spain Schimpfs are in the top 10 for this second chance race. Then it is the Polish star, Kasper Skuza. What a disappointing Saturday he had. Friday was absolutely stellar to be third on the grid for most of his heats. But then, of course, Kasper Skuza had all sorts of difficulties yesterday, but that means he has the speed to charge his way back. From 11th on the grid, he's one to watch. Kike Bordas is in 12th position on the grid for Mon La Competition, and it's going to be quite tough for Kike to work his way forward, but he is one of the drivers who can really make it stick. Jan Kalmet, another driver with lightning speed this weekend, but no fortune at all. He's had a couple of problems over the course of the weekend, including an off yesterday in one of the heats, which has put him down in the second chance race, but there's still a lot to come from him. For the MLC team, it is Charlie Rippin. He will be there fighting his way back into contention, I'm sure. 15th on the grid is the rather unfortunate Welshman, Teddy Williams, who is there for the Argenti squad, and he will be trying to fight his way back into contention from 15th. For Evolution, it is Santiago Concepcion on the Kart Republic. Then in 17th on the grid for BMR, it is Thomas Fleming, and he will be sharing the 9th row of the grid with Danny Bunshu, the Spirit Racing driver for Switzerland. And then rounding out the top 20, it is going to be Dan Steenman for the PDB Racing team and Darrell Taylor for MLC. 2 drivers who have had more speed than those grid positions in the second chance heat tell you about, but they are hoping that performance is going to change over the course of this race. Alejandro Martinez will line up in 21st on the grid for Kart Republic Spain. Then it will be Eloy Gonzalez for the FA Racing team in 22nd. All sorts of problems for him yesterday. 23rd will be Eric Alanis. He will be there on the 12th row of the grid on the inside line. And then for the Evolution Racing team, it is Ollie Marsh who lines up in 24th. 25th on the grid will be Sweden's KR Sport star Robbie Avidan. And then it is Jan Bouvier who lines up in the Karting Royal Service kart, which is the Alpha chassis. The Frenchman lining up in 26th. On the 14th row of the grid, it is Alexander Wang, the Singaporean, who had brilliant qualifying on Friday, but it's all gone wrong since then. Hopefully he can turn that around in the second chance heat. He lines up beside Talvar Racing's Estonian star Hugo Arendi, who lines up in 28th on the grid. Rounding out the top 30, his first appearance in Europe, Caden McQueen. I was talking to him briefly this morning. He said, "This has been my worst weekend in motor racing." Well, do you know what? For a European debut, it was always going to be tough, but he has definitely held himself well out there. And hopefully he'll have more fortune in the second chance than he had over the races yesterday. Caden McQueen alongside Vincenzo Marinov, the Spanish privateer on the CRG chassis, who rounds out the top 30. The remaining 6 are Sweden's Albin Karlsson, who is the only driver this weekend on the Ricardo chassis for the KH Racing team. Alongside him on the grid, it is Samuel Figueras, who has really struggled off the back of the grid in each of his heats for the Kart Republic Spain team. Then in 33rd on the grid, it is the Spirit Racing driver from Switzerland, Nathan Neuhaus, and he will be there alongside Pedro Perino for the Carbo Junior team, the Portuguese talent. Hugo Nataril will be on the back row of the grid for this one. The Praga España driver has had no luck at all weekend. It's always been very tricky from his point of view. He had speed but no fortune in qualifying, and then yesterday didn't get much better. And the last man in for the second chance heat is Portugal's Santiago Ribeiro for the Escola Karting Oeste squad in his Birolart. So the 36 drivers are bidding for just 6 places. How good a race is this going to be, with very much at stake here over the course of the next 11 laps? And obviously it's one of the toughest races of the weekend, the second chance heat, especially when you've got a full grid of Senior X30 drivers. The race after this will be the MG Cup, which is for the drivers who haven't quite made it into the second chance heat of the Senior X30 drivers. It gives them one final race to hold their head high and show what they could have done had their fortune gone a little bit stronger. But it's always a tough race, these last 2 races, and only 6 competitors from this first one are going to get the chance to progress through to the pre-final. And all 36 drivers on that grid will be there for the pre-final and final, and the winner of that race will be our IAME Winter Cup title winner. There's all sorts of things that could happen today in seniors. There is a chance we're going to get a brand new winner. Of course, over the last 3 seasons in the Senior Winter Cup, there have been some absolutely fascinating performances. Jordan Brown-Nutley was the first winner back in 2017, 3 years ago. In 2018, it went the way of Clayton Ravenscroft. Last year, the title went to Dean McDonald. So it's been Brits all the way. But if, for example, Mari Boyer was to get the title he had done today, he would be the first driver in IAME Winter Cup history to win the title 3 times across the different categories. Twice a junior title winner. Maybe he could get the job done in senior in 2020. You never know. However, there is still an awful lot of racing still to come. And there's going to be a very exciting battle for these 36 drivers, 30 of whom are going to walk away from here empty-handed. So there's a lot at stake. There'll be plenty of overtakes, there'll be plenty of brutal battles out there, and the drivers will be putting in everything they possibly can from this race to move their way further forward. It looks to me as though there might be 1 or 2 absences from the grid. I think we're not going to see a start from Hugo Belder. I can't see him there on the starting grid, unfortunately. So it looks as though the ENTMC Motorsport driver may not be able to take up position on the second chance heat, which is a real shame. And I know for a fact that one driver you're not going to be seeing for the rest of the day is Philip Rawson, who sadly is no longer participating in the meeting. A real shame for Philip, but hopefully he'll be back for the IAME Euro Series later in the season. So it's going to be an interesting and exciting battle. 11 laps of racing from the X30 Seniors second chance heat for the drivers who qualified 31st to 66th after yesterday's heats. Only 6 of them can progress through to the pre-final. Who's it going to be? Let's find out. Ivan Bataya and Erbertsmoor, Arnold Milizia and Alejandro Schimpf on the second row from Hugo Belder, who's not there on the grid by the look of it. Rivaldo van der Westerlaken alongside. And then it's Jason Young and Alicia Barrett, Edward Ports and Adrian Schimpf, Casper Scusa and Kike Bordas, from Jan Kalmet and Charlie Rippin, Teddy Williams and Santiago Concepcion, Thomas Fleming and Danny Bunshu, Dan Steenman and Darrell Taylor, Alejandro Martinez and Eloy Gonzalez, Eric Alanis and Ollie Marsh, Robbie Avidan and Jan Bouvier, Alexander Wang and Hugo Arendi, Caden McQueen and Vincenzo Marinov, Albin Carlson, Sam Figueras, Nathan Neuhaus, Pedro Perino, Hugo Nataril and Santiago Ribeiro. Now it looks to me as though the only driver who's not been able to get out there for the start of the second chance heat is Hugo Belder. They must have some kind of mechanical issue, because starting from 5th position on the grid for the second chance heat, you wouldn't pass up that opportunity to be up at the front end of the field unless there was something quite of a difficulty wrong with the kart. I can sense drivers deciding that they wouldn't necessarily want to participate in the next race, which is the MG Cup. But certainly if you've got a chance to go into the finals and you're in the top 6 on the grid, you wouldn't pass up that opportunity unless something were definitely awry. So here are the competitors, just getting themselves up to speed, warming up the tyres, warming up the brakes, getting everything just so ready for the start. And it is, of course, the EKR that starts on pole position from Ivan Bataya. And he will line up with the Tony Kart of Erbertsmoor, Arnold Milizia and Alejandro Schimpf from Rivaldo van der Westerlaken alone on the 3rd row. So Jason Young's got a clear path to the first corner to tuck in behind, potentially Bataya and Milizia, and he could get some support from America's Edward Ports. Alicia Barrett is there on the outside of the 4th row, the highest ranked female in this particular race. And she is there in 8th position on the starting grid, although that becomes 7th, of course, with the absence of Hugo Belder. And Alicia Barrett is not far away from getting into this pre-final. She's had a lot of bad luck over the course of the last 18 months. But the start with Chaos Sport seems to have gone quite well. She didn't get a lot of fortune out of yesterday's races, but the speed was definitely there. And she is the leading Brit in this race as well. So the competitors now lining up. Bataya, Moore, Milizia, Alejandro Schimpf, van der Westerlaken, Young, Barrett, Ports, Adrian Schimpf, Scusa, Bordas, Calmet, Rippin, Williams, Concepcion, Fleming, Bunshu and Steenman, then Taylor, Martinez, Gonzalez and Alanis, from Marsh, Avidan, Bouvier, Wang, Arendi, McQueen, Marinov, Carlson, Figueras, Neuhaus, and then it's Perino, Nataril and Ribeiro. Drivers come out of the final turn. Ivan Bataya to the inside line, Erbertsmoor on the outside line. And this is going to be a tough race ahead. 6 drivers go through, 11 laps of racing. What a start from Ivan Bataya. That's exactly how he wanted it to go. Through to the first corner. Herbert Moore is going to hang back, and he's only going to be about 4th position by the time they get through. If it's a good start from Jason Young, he might lose another place, but it's not good enough for the Canadian to displace him. So Herbert Moore falls into about 4th position. The field works its way through the chicane, and there's already fisticuffs. Drivers all over the shop. That, unfortunately, is the 260. That's the Spirit Racing car of Danny Bundschuh. He's gone around, and he's going to be at the back of the field, even if the car can continue. And we've had another off further round, a couple of corners further on. That looks like one of the Dimes Racing carts that's come off there. It's certainly not the 262 of Van der Westerlaken. He's still going round strong. I wonder if we've had any... Well, certainly we've had one car come off. I think it is Santiago Concepcion, actually, who's not come through. But then he was one of the drivers involved. Alanis, Bouvier, McQueen and Figueras all involved in that incident as well, as the drivers are still getting themselves slotted in together on the first lap. I think it is actually... Well, I'm not sure if it's Concepcion or if it is Bouvier that's had the accident, but certainly there's one driver out of the race on the far side. But out in front, it is Ivan Batalla who leads. From Alejandro Schimpf, who's in 2nd place now. From Moore, Malizia, Van der Westerlaken and Scusa. And there's a mechanical flag for Santiago Concepcion. I'm afraid that's his weekend over. He's slowing to a crawl by the look of it anyway. The 250 slows right down at the chicane. And that's Alejandro Martinez. Alejandro Martinez is out of it by the look of it, so there's no chance of him getting through. What a shame for Martinez, and also for Concepcion. So he's out of it. It's Albin Karlsson who went off on the first lap, in fact, the Ricardo chassis. So Albin Karlsson of Sweden is out of the race. Here's for the lead. That's Alejandro Schimpf, and he gets the move on the right kink. That is such a hard move to pull off. But Alejandro Schimpf gets it done on this second chance heat. In 3rd place now is Rivaldo van der Westerlaken in front of Malizia. Then it is Herbert Moore in front of Kasper Scusa. What a fight back from the pole. He is there in 6th position now. So that's the bubble spot. Jason Young loses out there to Adrian Schimpf. So Adrian Schimpf gets into 7th place. And that is 1 place away from qualification. Alicia Barrett is 9th. 10th is Ports. Then it is Calmet, Williams, Bordas, Wang, Avidan, Rippin, Concepcion and Marsh. But Santiago Concepcion has some kind of a problem by the look of it. He's already got the mechanical flag. I don't know what the situation is with Santiago Concepcion's kart, but he was shown the mechanical flag first time around. Up the inside, that's a big bold lunge from one of the Tony Kart chassis. That is the 286 of Herbert Moore. Kasper Scusa getting past Malizia as well, and he's not the only one. Looks like we got Schimpf and Leung getting past as well. So on the back straight, it's Alejandro Schimpf who leads from Ivan Batalla. More overtaking moves aplenty coming in as these guys battle away for supremacy. It's never going to be easy, but they are going to push for everything. Adrian Schimpf now gets past Arnold Malizia, and that puts Adrian Schimpf into 6th position. It looks like both of the Schimpfs are going to get through, and that is a problem, unfortunately, for the 229, the Talbot of Hugo Arendi. So Hugo Arendi falls back down the order as Alicia Barrett gets the move on both Malizia and Leung. She's now in 7th place, 1 position away from automatic qualification to the pre-finals. She just needs to take on Adrian Schimpf, and she's going for it. This is a great little battle coming on now. Kasper Scusa's up to 5th. There is at the back of the queue, that's Alicia Barrett, the 244, trying to take on Adrian Schimpf for the final spot in the pre-final. So Schimpf and Batalla. Alejandro Schimpf is in 1st, Batalla 2nd, then it's Van der Westerlaken, Moore, Scusa, Adrian Schimpf, and there's Alicia Barrett in 7th, trying to get through into the top 6. In 8th position behind her is Malizia. Then it's Young. Ed Ports is going for it on the inside line. Ed Ports trying to get into 9th position, the American. And it's a late bid from Malizia on Leung that stops that charge. Bit of an issue for Herbert Moore. Kasper Scusa's gone through, and that's enough for Barrett to get tucked in behind Adrian Schimpf, and she's in a 6th position. So Moore and Barrett are now 5th and 6th, and Barrett's not done yet. She's going to go for another place or 2. So if she stays where she is, Alicia Barrett's going into the pre-finals, where she looks like she wants to do a little bit more work on Herbert Moore up front to get through another position. And it looks as though we've lost Don Steenman now as well. Don Steenman appears to be out of the race. So the Dutchman has gone off. And it's the black flag for Santiago Concepcion. He's clearly ignored the mechanical flag for 3 consecutive laps. So that is game over for Santiago Concepcion. What a shame. So unfortunately, he's now out of the race and out of the competition. Alejandro Schimpf is your leader. Batalla 2nd. Rivaldo van der Westerlaken 3rd. From Scusa. Then it is Moore and Barrett. You're watching them out on circuit. 5th and 6th. Chased down by Adrian Schimpf and Jason Young. Kalmet and Milizia are in the top 10. They're running well. But it is not done yet. We've still got a long way to go. This is lap 6 out of 11. 6 places available. Watch for Kasper Skuza. He's all over the back of Ravelda van der Westerleken now. And Alicia Barrett has lost the toe of Erbertsmoor, so she's in danger in 6th position because Adrian Schimpf is still right there in 7th place. So it's going to be a tough fight in front. Kasper Skuza wants 3rd position of Ravelda van der Westerleken, though 4th would still do. It would be enough to qualify for the pre-finals. Ravelda van der Westerleken gets right underneath him. He looks back. Here's the move. Kasper Skuza into 3rd. Lovely overtake in the final chicane. So Skuza gets into P3. Van der Westerleken still 4th. 5th is Moore. 6th place is Alicia Barrett. But these two want to stretch away and close up again on Alejandro Schimpf and Ivan Batalla. In fact, the EKR is actually closing up on Alejandro Schimpf for the lead of the race. Ivan Batalla is closing in the 280. But this is the battle for 3rd, and there's 3 of them at it. Shortly going to be 5 because Barrett is under massive pressure. Moore gets the move on Van der Westerleken shortly after Skuza has. So Skuza's into 3rd as we know, but now Moore is up into 4th place past Van der Westerleken. And that could give Barrett and Schimpf a great chance. There goes Adrian Schimpf into 6th position. He's now in the final position for qualification. So Alicia Barrett back down into 7th, but it is easier to chase than it is to be chased. So down through the kink. On the back straight, up towards the final chicane. If Alicia Barrett can just stay there for the remainder of this race in 7th place, she's got a chance on the last lap to take on Adrian Schimpf again, but she might not wait around for that. Kasper Skuza trying to break the toe. Big lunge from Ravelda van der Westerleken. He gets up the inside of Erbertsmoor and into 4th place once more. The carts of Martinez and Steeman off to the right. There goes Moore on the inside of Van der Westerleken. Van der Westerleken on the curves, and Schimpf is going to get up the inside of Moore. So is Barrett. Barrett can't get by though. Barrett's got to be careful. You can't afford a front fairing in this race. It is so tight. You've got to be very careful here. 4 laps to go. Up the inside, Schimpf having a look at Van der Westerleken, and they've allowed Kasper Skuza to run away clear in 3rd. Meanwhile, Alejandro Schimpf has still got Ivan Batalla right behind him in their battle for the victory in this second chance heat. There's Skuza in 3rd, then Van der Westerleken and Adrian Schimpf. Erbertsmoor's got Alicia Barrett right in behind. And Barrett's doing the right thing. She's tucking right up behind Erbertsmoor, working with him to catch up to the 2 carts up front. And now Barrett's going to make the move on Moore as Schimpf makes the move on Van der Westerleken. Schimpf gets through, Barrett gets through, Schimpf up to 4th, Barrett up to 6th. And Van der Westerleken now in serious trouble from Barrett. Now from Barrett's point of view, she'll want to try and make the move. Well, Dart Steenman's got a warning flag, but it doesn't matter because he's already out of the race. Schimpf is 4th, Barrett is 6th. The man in front of Alicia Barrett is Ravelda van der Westerleken, and he was trying to have another crack at Adrian Schimpf. But Alicia Barrett is closing right up. Fast, that machine. A lot of straight line speed in the KR Sport. They really have got a good package here this weekend. But Erbertsmoor wants to get back into that top 6 as well. So Alicia Barrett could really do with making an overtake on Ravelda van der Westerleken, who checks over his right shoulder, knows Alicia Barrett is right there. Barrett is going, oh, problems! Problems for Schimpf! Adrian Schimpf is out of it! Adrian Schimpf is out of the race in 4th! Mechanical failure for Adrian Schimpf. What a disaster! And now there's a proper battle down to the first corner. Barrett trying to shake off Van der Westerleken and Moore. As now all 3 of them are set for qualification, but Barrett is up to 4th. Van der Westerleken and Erbertsmoor are 5th and 6th, and a big commitment from Van der Westerleken on the inside of Barrett, and that's allowed Moore to get through as well. Goodness me, that was a tiger's overtake from Van der Westerleken. Charges up the inside over the curbs, and that puts him in a 4th position. But as long as he had 2 wheels on and 2 wheels off, that's a legal move, and I'm fairly sure he did. So Van der Westerleken up the inside for 4th, Moore is 5th, and here comes Barrett opening up the door for 5th position and through, and that's also a move from Teddy Williams. Teddy Williams has stormed up into 6th position for the Argenti squad now. So the Argenti Motorsport driver Teddy Williams looks like he is going to make the final of this race. Then here comes Kalmet. Kalmet gets up the inside of Erbertsmoor as we go into the last lap. Alejandro Schimpf and Ivan Batalla, 1 and 2. Skuza is 3rd. 4th is Van der Westerleken. 5th is Barrett. 6th is Williams. And there goes Moore on the inside of Kalmet to get back in his 7th position. It's tight all the way to the finish line now. And there is the battle for the lead. It's Alejandro Schimpf in front of Ivan Batalla. But the first two are unlikely to have a battle out there now. There's no point. They just want to qualify. They've kept out of trouble. They're not in harm's way. As long as they've looked after their front fairings, they are going to go through. These three should do as well. Rivaldo van der Westerleken and Alicia Barrett. Teddy Williams wants one more place. Now they've got to be careful on this last lap, as we've had another retirement. It's Eloy Gonzalez. Eloy Gonzalez out of the race as well, up at the far side. He went out on the same lap as Adrian Schimpf. But here comes the finish line. And it's Alejandro Schimpf and Ivan Batalla who get the first two positions over the line. Kasper Skuza with a brilliant third. Who's going to be in the last three? It's Rivaldo van der Westerleken, Alicia Barrett and Teddy Williams. What a fight back from the Argenti driver. Teddy Williams started this race from 15th on the grid and he's come all the way up to P6. A hero's drive. And what a great performance. Ivan Batalla there finishing in second place. But it's Alejandro Schimpf in the 2:35 who gets the victory in the second chance heat. And that's enough to put him through to the pre-finals. His brother Adrian, not quite so lucky. Alejandro Schimpf wins from Ivan Batalla. Kasper Skuza third from Rivaldo van der Westerleken. Alicia Barrett and Teddy Williams just make it through. Herbert Moore and Jan Kalmet from Anna Malizia and Edward Ports. Jason Young and Caden McQueen. Then in 13th is Ollie Marsh from Kike Bordas and Darryl Taylor. Pedro Perrido, Thomas Fleming, Alexander Wang and Vincenzo Marinov. Then Hugo Natarel, Robbie Avidan, Santiago Ribeiro is 22nd in front of the Swiss stars, Danny Bunshu and Nathan Neuhaus. In 25th position behind them, it is Jan Bouvier, then Sam Figueras and Charlie Rippin from Hugo Arendi and Santiago Concepcion, who finishes the race despite the black flag. That won't be taken very lightly. Eric Alanis was the last man home. And then the retirements, Adrian Schimpf, Eloy Gonzalez, Dan Steenman, Alejandro Martinez, and the man who went off on the first lap, Albin Carlson, while Hugo Belder failed to take the start. Thrilling racing from the Senior X30s. There is Alejandro Martinez and Dan Steenman walking in after wondering what might have been. For Dan Steenman in particular, because he was 10th on the grid for his heats, so towards the sharp end, but he had no luck at all last 24 hours. Eloy Gonzalez out of the race on home soil as well, the FA Racing driver. There's Albin Carlson's kart being recovered. Looks like they put a new front fairing on that because it doesn't match the rest of the graphics kit. But unfortunately, it didn't help the Swede to progress further forward. So Albin Carlson is out of the race and out of the weekend. So, provided that there are no front fairing penalties or any other misdemeanors or transgressions, we now know our 6 competitors to go through in each of the categories. But there is one more race before the pre-finals begin, and that is the MG Cup for the Senior X30 drivers who have not quite managed to get themselves up the order. And that race is getting underway in 4 minutes' time. So the drivers will head out onto the circuit shortly. There they are, ready for the action. 4 minutes' time is an estimate, of course, because there are some karts to clear away. We may get a slight delay. But for the X30 seniors that are on the grid, this is a race of frustration for them all. But they do still want to race one more time. They know they're not going to progress through to the pre-finals. They haven't quite made it that far. But from their point of view, they've still got one more race to finish off their weekend and show the world what could have been. Miguel Silva will line up on pole position, the Portuguese driver for the Paralin Iberian team. And then alongside him is the MDC Racing driver on her CRG, that is Albany Del Valle, the Spanish driver. For the SG driver squad in third, it is the French lady Chloe Canard. And then Cabral Junior's young Portuguese star Luis Alves lines up in fourth on the starting grid. Dan Butterworth, his first weekend in Europe for the crop promotion team. He's had a tough mission, but he's driven very well over the course of the weekend. Not had the luck or the fortune or the results, but he's definitely made a good impression. Alongside him on the grid, fortune has definitely not favoured James Walker this weekend. In fact, I don't see his kart there on the grid, so he's obviously sustained so much damage over the course of the weekend, and he did have a lot of incidents yesterday that were mostly not his own fault in pretty much every case. But he's not going to be taking up the start from 6th position. That is a shame. Jose Barros, the privateer, lines up from 7th position on the starting grid, and he will be there in his EKR alongside Kalai Atkins. A very admirable debut in Europe for the Jamaican, and it's good to see how well he's got on. He's there in 8th position on the grid, although technically, of course, it becomes 7th with the absence of James Walker. On the 5th row, it is going to be Lewis Wadley. a first time out for the Precision Racing team, and Lewis Wadley has done a fair job. Alongside him on the grid is the Belgian female for the Dimes Racing team, that is Clémentine Benoit. So she is going to be there to round out the top 10. On 11th on the grid is going to be Luis Leao for the Monlau squad. He is there, the Portuguese driver, alongside the Indian talent, Anshul Gandhi for Dan Holland Racing. He had no luck at all yesterday, so hopefully he can salvage something very strong from this last race of the weekend. David Sobreiro, the privateer, on the 13th position spot on the grid. The Portuguese lines up alongside Kuya Racing's Dennis Booman, who had problems in qualifying, had problems yesterday, and is hoping there will be no problems at all for his last bid. And then the last man in is going to be the OKS Cosmic driver, that is Alessandro Ostruc, the Frenchman. He will be the last one to take up the grid. And obviously the MG Cup is more for pride and honour than for anything else, but it's a last chance for the drivers who fought so valiantly yesterday, who have not made it to the second chance heat, to have one more shot at racing. A little bit of valour and honour is at stake for these guys and girls. They want to be up at the sharp end of the field, and obviously this is going to be their last opportunity to put in a good show. Hopefully they will all return for the IAME Euro Series when it kickstarts at Marienborg in Belgium at the end of March. The calendar then continues into the second round at the gorgeous Siete Larghi circuit in Italy, the wonderful city, wonderful town of Castelletto, I should say. The third round of the championship takes us to a new venue for the IAME Euro Series at Essay in France. And then, of course, the final round of the championship will be back here at the beautiful Cartodromo Internacional Lucas Guerrero here in Valencia. What a fantastic backdrop this circuit has always provided. It's the fourth running of this event. It's my third time here, and I have to say it is a wonderful, picturesque circuit with wonderful countryside, a beautiful backdrop of the fabulous hills and mountains surrounding the Valencia city here in the district of Chiva. And it's wonderful to see the great racers that have come here time and again. One final hurrah for the MG Cup drivers. Miguel Silva and Albany Del Val on the front row of the grid, from Chloe Canard and Luis Alves, then Dan Butterworth and James Walker, who is absent, Jose Barros and Kalai Atkins, from Lewis Wadley and Clementine Benoit, then Luis Leao and Anshul Gandhi, David Sobreiro, Dennis Booman and Alessandro Ostruc, with a non-start for Lucas Pons. Now that is a spin in the pit lane for Albany Del Val. Albany Del Val has got a problem. Now that is baffling, but Albany Del Val with a big issue there, coming out of the pit lane. Now, hopefully she's going to be able to get going again. She has made it back out on circuit. Was that a spin, or did she park up? I think it was a spin, actually. So Albany Del Val under some pressure there to get herself back into position, and she's going to have to take herself to the front row of the grid once more. A big issue there for Albany Del Val. But if she can get a victory on home soil, that would keep the Spanish crowd happy. So obviously she now needs to get herself back into her grid position. Fortunately, she's got 2 laps to do so. And she did manage to get out onto the grid again. There she is. So hopefully she'll be able to take up her position on the front row of the grid once more. It'll be Silva and Albany Del Val, then Canard and Alves, Butterworth, then Barros and Atkins, Wadley and Benoit, Leo, Gandhi, Sobreiro, Booman and Ostruc. And these competitors will be the last ones to go to battle before we get to the pre-finals. So the competitors are obviously getting themselves dialed in, warming up the tyres and brakes to their optimum temperature as always. And that is the scene that will greet them when they come out of the final turn in their tram lines. 11 laps around this circuit. It's going to be quite the tough battle ahead. But there's one more race of fun for these guys before they can get their way back home again, although I'm fairly sure the majority of them will stay in order to watch the gripping finals that we have here. 6 races to go after this one. The pre-finals set the grid for the finals, and then the finals themselves, of course, are the ones that will give us an amazing spectacle. I think they're all waiting to see if Albany Del Val is going to get herself back into her grid position. She is catching them down the back straight. She may have to quickly nip into her grid slot at the very last moment, but the drivers are waiting in position. There we go. Albany Del Val and the CRG is hopefully going to take her place at the front, but I think she's run out of time to get there, so she's going to have to start from the back of the field. And the lights go out. We're racing. So Miguel Silva gets a good start. Chloe Canard trying to get into second position on the inside line. Is she there? She's just about managed to go for it. Albany Del Val, unfortunately, now having to start the race for the back of the grid, but that's the corporation into second position. Up the inside, is this going to be a big move? It is indeed, as a fantastic start from Kalai Atkins. The Jamaican has shot forward and he now leads here in Valencia. What a start from Kalai Atkins. Absolutely superb as he now charges his way through. He is at the front of the field after an absolutely epic start. So Kalai Atkins is out in front of the field. Miguel Silva in second place, and in third, I'm fairly sure, that is Chloe Canard. Down the main straight, down the back straight I should say, the 256, that is Luis Alves in fact who's in third position. My apologies, as going for the lead, Miguel Silva trying to get there, but Kalai Atkins has shot forward, and the Jamaican sensation is out in the lead. Silva second, Alves third, Butterworth fourth, then it is Chloe Canard from Clementine Benoit. Seventh is Leo in front of a Struck, Barros, Wadley, Albany Del Valle, Anshul Gandhi and David Sobrero. Looks like even more problems for Dennis Booman. He's out of the race after a battle on the first lap. So Dennis Booman's weekend really has been a write-off. But it's Kalai Atkins. There is Dennis Booman. Absolutely dejected as he walks in. Nothing's gone right for him this weekend. Hopefully his form will return when we get to Marienborg if he so deems to join us. He'll be very welcome. But a very fed up and unhappy Dennis Booman as he now retreats to Marshall Post 3 where he will watch the rest of the race. Kalai Atkins, though, is out in front. Miguel Silva and Luis Alves right in. Chloe Canard has made the move for fourth on Dan Butterworth. Here we go for the lead. Miguel Silva on the inside of Atkins, and he's not just going to lose the lead, he's going to lose second too, because Luis Alves gets through. But Kalai Atkins is still there in fourth. Canard is battling with Dan Butterworth. Butterworth is trying to get through into the top four. And in fifth place he remains at the moment from the Belgian star Clementine Benoit. She's in front of Alessandro Struck from Lewis Wadley, and then in ninth place is Lewis Layout. Albany Del Valle has made her way into 10th position from the start, and made that ninth now because she's got past her close rival there, Lewis Layout. So Silva is your leader, Alves in second, Atkins in third. There's nothing more than just a bit of honour at stake here for these guys. They all want to win this race just to finish their weekend on a high note. And so far it's Miguel Silva in front of Luis Alves and Kalai Atkins. Atkins in third position behind the two leaders. Silva. Atkins is going to have an opportunity here because Alves is going for the lead. That's a force wide there from Silva. And into the lead of the race comes Luis Alves. Here comes Chloe Canard now. Canard is going to try and make a bid, assisting Kalai Atkins to go for Silva. So it's Alves, Silva, Atkins and Canard. Then it's Butterworth and Benoit. The top six going through nice and neatly. Is the move up the inside from Atkins. He has a look at Miguel Silva, not quite able to get through. As Alessandro Struck in seventh gets the fastest lap of the race. And Albany Del Valle has got away into eighth place past Lewis Wadley now. Wadley is still there. My apologies, in eighth place. So Wadley is there. Astruck is going to make the move on Clementine Benoit. And Astruck gets through into sixth position. So a nice overtake there from Astruck. Clementine Benoit down to seventh place now. She's going to have to fight back. So Alves, Silva, Atkins, Canard, Butterworth, Astruck, Benoit. And in eighth is Wadley in front of Albany Del Valle and Luis Leo. Then Gandhi, Sobrero and Barros. Into the chicane. Luis Alves still running well from Miguel Silva. In third place, Kalai Atkins. A big defensive lunge on the inside line from Luis Alves. It's only lap 5 and he's decided to go defensive. Miguel Silva giving him plenty of pressure. Kalai Atkins is looking for the bid to come through. He's in third position just in front of Canard and Butterworth. But this is going to be a long race. I can tell already. There's going to be a lot of battles in this one. Luis Alves just protecting his inside line. He's clearly had a lot of front fairings go missing because he's got a completely black front fairing compared to what it should be in Kart Republic white and orange. And Chloe Canard now holding the inside line to Dan Butterworth as Alessandro Astruck makes his bid and gets past Dan Butterworth. So Alessandro Astruck, the Frenchman, gets through into position, trying to come around the outside now of Chloe Canard. So Astruck and Canard, regular races together in France. Again, Luis Alves being very defensive into the final turn, and that's Astruck up into fourth place past Chloe Canard now. And that's brought Clementine Benoit onto the back of Butterworth and Canard. Canard is still going to have a bit of a battle here with Butterworth and Benoit. Oh, and that's a little bit of a moment. I think there was a big issue. Canard nearly losing the cart there. Just about hanging on to it. And meanwhile, Kalai Atkins is going to try and attack Miguel Silva. Hasn't been able to find the space or the gap to get through. As meanwhile, Albany Del Valle has lost the place to Luis Leao, but has got back through on Anshul Gandhi. So far, nothing's gone well for Albany Del Valle in this one. What a shame for her. On the front row originally, and then spun on the way out of the pits. That's not great from her point of view, as Clementine Benoit continues to battle with Lewis Wadley now. Wadley has caught up, and I'm fairly sure he's got through. Yes, he has. So Wadley is now at his 7th place, and it's still Luis Alves in front of Miguel Silva, and in 3rd place, Kalai Atkins. So Alves, Silva, Atkins. 4th place is a Struck now, as we know, from Canard and Butterworth, then Wadley and Benoit. To the first corner. Again, Alves being very defensive in that first turn as we go into lap 7. Silva swarming around all over the back. Kalai Atkins is right there in 3rd as well. The top 3 have got a bit of a gap over Alessandro Struck. But with 5 laps to go, this is a nice little B-side to the main single, if you like. As Luis Alves, Miguel Silva and Kalai Atkins are having one final hurrah in the MG Cup. Onto the short run to the hairpin. And this is a good run from Luis Alves. He's been very defensive, but he's able to hold the position. You can't fault him on that one. So they come through on the far side of the back straight once again. Luis Alves, Miguel Silva and Kalai Atkins. 1, 2 and 3. 4th is a Struck. 5th is Canard. 6th is Butterworth. Wadley in 7th place from Benoit and Luis Leao. Through the chicane as they go into the 8th lap. 4 to go. Here comes Miguel Silva. He's been building up to this, and this time Alves isn't defensive. So Silva gets through. No problem at all in the first corner. Tightens in nicely on the hairpin, and now Kalai Atkins may sense an opportunity to go for the Portuguese in 2nd place. He makes it look beautiful on the inside. Waited for Alves to get a little bit wide, and Kalai Atkins into 2nd. Good bit of driving from the Jamaican. Superb from Kalai Atkins. So they sweep through and down the short stretch towards the hairpin. Into the left and into the right. For crop promotion, Kalai Atkins, who is based in the UK, of course, but of Jamaican origin, running through the hairpin and onto the back straight. So Miguel Silva leads the way, the Portuguese driver in front of Kalai Atkins, and Luis Alves is going to try again to get into 2nd place. But Kalai Atkins has already had a storming race off the start. He absolutely launched it through to the front end of the field, and he's just continuing a brilliant battle here. Hopefully this is going to give him bags of confidence that he can take into the Euro Series later in the year. His first time in Europe, of course. He's been one of the strong contenders in the British club scene, but this is his first time in Europe. And Kalai Atkins making a good impression here behind Miguel Silva. Not that the Paralin Iberian cart in front of him is any slouch. Miguel Silva still running a very good race. They come onto the short stretch, up to the hairpin. And now Miguel Silva going ultra defensive with 2.5 laps to go. Kalai Atkins gets in front. Can he hold it right round the outside? It's going to be brave, but he's going to get there. Kalai Atkins round the outside of the hairpin. Lovely move. That is such a hard overtake to pull off. And Kalai Atkins hits the front again. Now Silva's going to get there in the final turn. He gets through. They all drift wide. Struck's going to get into 3rd. Atkins down to 4th. Alessandro Struck now has a big chance to come through. He's in 3rd. He's waited and bided his time, and now he's in the hunt. But Butterworth, Canard, Wadley and Benoit are in the hunt now as well. That squabble has brought them all together. This is the kind of race we want to see for the MG Cup. An all-out battle royale. No resistance, no quarters, taken or given. In through the double left apex. Silva in front of Alves and a Struck. Atkins, Butterworth, Canard, Wadley, Benoit, the top 8 all together. And now a Struck wants a bit of honour. He's there in 3rd position, the Frenchman. Worked his way up. He's into 3rd behind Alves. Has he got 2 more overtakes in him, or can Kalai Atkins make amends for the earlier mistake at the final hairpin on the previous lap and get his way back up? He's tucked in behind a Struck. Here comes Alves for the lead on Silva, and a Struck's going to try and get there as well. A little bit of contact. Oh, they've all come together. A big shot, and it's come off worse for a Struck and the Paralin of Silva. Atkins came off as well. What a disaster. Going into the final lap, so many of them in trouble. Silva's out, a Struck is out. What a fight. And now it's left Luis Alves in the lead of the race from Chloe Canard and Lewis Wadley. Well, they're out of it. Nothing can be done about that one. What a shame. That was going so well. They all just got a little bit too wide. and ended up clattering into each other. Racing incident. And there's at least 3 or 4 of them down there. Silva out, Astruc out, Sobrero out, Barros out. They had a separate incident 2 laps ago. But now on the last lap, Luis Alves is on his own as he runs down the back straight. There is Lewis Wadley, who's going to get a 3rd position out of this one. That's the moral of the story. Never give up. Luis Alves is going to cross the line and he takes the victory. That'll do for him. Chloe Canard in 2nd, Lewis Wadley in 3rd, and Clementine Benoit in 4th. From Dan Butterworth and Luis Leal. Albany Del Val comes home in 7th place in front of Anshul Gandhi and a very unhappy Kalai Atkins. That could have been his win there. But then you could have said any of that to any driver in the top 8 on the previous lap. It was always going to be a tough one. But Luis Alves hangs on to it and he gets the victory. He's delighted. 11 laps done. His weekend is over. But he wins it with the Portuguese flag on his overalls with pride and honour. Luis Alves takes the victory then from Chloe Canard and Lewis Wadley. Clementine Benoit in 4th place from Dan Butterworth and Luis Leal. Albany Del Valle in 7th place. Anshul Gandhi is 8th, and the last man home is Kalai Atkins. A last lap incident, a penultimate lap incident I should say, put out Miguel Silva and Alessandro Estruc, with David Sobrero and Jose Barros out a couple of laps before. Dennis Bowman out on the 1st lap, and James Walker unable to take the start. Well, that was a nice little taster for the kind of racing we're going to get later on, especially now considering that we have 6 races to run, and this is going to be a very intense and exciting battle for all of the competitors, as in a handful of minutes time we're going to start the pre-finals. The first of those is going to be in the mini category. 36 drivers battling for the top honour, and now we know who those 36 are. In fact, there has actually been an amendment to the previous result, which means that there's going to be a couple of other drivers missing from the... Well, there's one driver in the top 6 sadly missing. The amended result from the second chance heat in the minis sees Marius Barryberg take the victory in front of Matt Corby, with Eduardo Dominguez classified as 3rd in front of Alto Valsort, Freddie Housley and Thomas Behrman. So he is able to get through. Sadly, it's Alfie Slater who falls from the ranks. A real shame because he's had a very tough weekend, but he'll be back stronger and feistier than ever as they get underway for the IAME Euro Series. It's been a tough weekend, but he will be back, and he'll be back to his best, I'm sure. He now gets to have no pressure at all of watching big brother Freddie take on all comers in the juniors. And who knows, he could win the title 12 months after winning the mini crown. That would be pretty exceptional on his first ever race in Junior X30. That would be quite the achievement. So while the clean-up job goes on from the MG Cup, there's quite a lot of flotsam and jetsam to clear up from the circuit from that MG Cup race. So while they're doing that, we can talk in detail about the grid for this mini pre-final. Leo Robinson in pole position after a fabulous day yesterday, a race that saw across the 3 heats a win and 2 seconds. And that is as good as you can get it when the field is full of competitors that had 6 different winners from the 6 heats. Very impressive to see and very unheard of. Jan Paral, though, is almost his equal in terms of the results he got yesterday. A win, a second and a 4th in the end for Jan Paral. He's one to watch, actually. The Monlau Competition driver has come in. This is his first event in IAME Euro in the paddock here in the Winter Cup, and he's come out of the blocks fighting fit. He's very strong indeed. Dennis Cudavali will line up in 3rd position on the grid for the Kart Republic Spain team after a win, a second, and I think also a 4th place yesterday. Sandro Perez, the teammate of Jan Paral, will line up just behind him on the 2nd row of the grid. Then Hugo Marti for the ENTMC Motorsport squad. He'll be there in 5th position on the grid, along with Bosco Arias, who got a victory yesterday for the Kart Republic Spain squad. Then in 7th is Alex Martinez of the Praga España Motorsport team. And then we'll have Thomas Strauven for Strawberry Racing. The Belgian will be there in 8th place. Josef Martin, one of the many Spaniards in the top 10 for FA Racing. He'll be there in 9th on the grid, and in 10th on the starting grid will be Lewis Werrell for the Oliver Roden Motorsport team. Their first appearance in the IAME Euro paddock as well here at the Winter Cup. For ECK, it'll be Raul Martinez, the Swiss, who's made massive progress after difficult qualifying sessions on Friday, but he's now fought his way up to 11th place. The privateer, Edu Robinson, is there in 12th on the grid. Then it is Hugo Sanchez in 13th in position for the Czech Republic Spain team. And then Marianito, who's had a fabulous weekend, it has to be said, for her start for the 2020 season. Brilliant in qualifying, tricky races, but she has fought herself into contention in 14th place, the Portuguese talent. Then it is Santiago Alves, the privateer on the Birilat chassis. He's fought his way into 15th after an amazing last lap bid to get into 3rd position in the final heat. He did an absolutely fantastic job. 16th on the grid is Cathal Clark, one of the standout performers of this weekend. His first ever weekend in Europe, and he's way up in 16th on the grid. He's been an absolute tiger fighting his way through the field and making up masses of places. Tiziano Kuznini lines up in 17th, another man whose weekend really came alive in the second half of yesterday, and he's made some big moves through the field too. He's 17th on the grid alongside the Italian Filippo Sala, who is there in the Czech Republic chassis for Team Driver Racing SDA. And then it is Raul Janjardin for the Kids to Win outfit. He's in 19th on the grid for this one. 20th on the grid is Louis Laveau for the TD Car Marlin squad. He is there on the outside of the 10th row. In 21st on the starting grid, it is the very talented Portuguese star Noah Monteiro, whose father, Tiago, is actually here today watching on, the World Touring Car star and former podium finisher in the American Grand Prix 2005. And it's going to be interesting to see what Noah Monteiro can do. He's been absolutely feisty through the course of the weekend as well. Lots of good overtaking moves. Not a lot of luck in various points of the weekend, but he's going to charge his way through from the 11th row. Kian Fardin is another one with masses of speed in qualifying. He had all sorts of difficulties at the start of yesterday, but he more than made up for it in the second half of the weekend to fight back. And so now he is in 22nd on the grid. It's been a bit of a comeback drive from the Praga Spaniard driver Adrian Benito as well. He had all sorts of difficulties in qualifying. All his good laps were taken away and deleted, so he had to fight through from the back, and he's now in 23rd on the starting grid for the pre-final. So it's obviously going to be a very exciting battle for him. 24th on the grid is Roman Kamyab. Lots of power and speed in qualifying and a lot of bad luck. He actually had somebody fly over his helmet yesterday, so he's lucky even to be taking the start of this pre-final. And we can talk through the rest of the grid as they come out. Leo Robinson and Jan Paral from Denis Cudavali and Sandro Perez, then Hugo Marti and Bosco Arias, Alex Martinez and Thomas Straubin, Josep Martin and Luis Werrell, then Raul Martinez and Eddie Robinson from Hugo Sanchez and Marianito, Santiago Alves and Cathal Clark from Tiziano Kuznini and Filippo Sala, Raul Janjardin and Louis Laveau, Noah Monteiro and Kian Fardin from Adrian Benito and Roman Kamyab, then Soichiro Shioda of Japan and Belgium's Tibor Ramakes, Tibor Gillard and Hector Gerling, Daniel Dalakian is alongside Luna Flusha, who was the fastest of her group in qualifying and had a miserable day of fortune yesterday, but she's got nothing left to lose now. 31st on the grid is Marius Barryberg, the Norwegian, Matt Corby in 32nd, Eduardo Dominguez is 3rd, Arto Valsort is 34th, and then Freddie Housley and Thomas Behrman will take up the back row of the grid, having just made it in the second chance heat. For these 36 drivers, they now have 2 races to determine who is going to win the IAME Winter Cup in 2020. They will join Maximus Meyer, Miguel Pedro Rozoraga and Freddie Slater as former winners of the Winter Cup in the Mini category. And there's definitely going to be a 4th different winner in as many outings. But who it's going to be, well, your guess is as good as mine. The Mini race genuinely delivers masses of battles, and whoever emerges victorious is definitely going to have earned it. These 36 drivers from all 4 corners of the globe, from Britain, from Spain, from Belgium, from Switzerland, from Portugal, from Japan, and even further afield. These guys have done an absolutely amazing job to get to this point in their weekend, and we're going to be in for some absolutely thrilling racing as they push their way around this circuit for the 2 formation laps, just trying to build up temperature into the tyres and brakes. And boy oh boy, are they in for a bit of a show. This should be pretty spectacular here at Valencia, and these guys are going to give it absolutely everything they have. Some great racing ahead of us. Leo Robinson, Jan Paral, Denis Cudavali and Sandro Perez from Hugo Marti and Bosco Arias. Then Martinez, Straubin, Josep Martin, Luis Werrell, Raul Martinez, Eddie Robinson, Hugo Sanchez and Marianito from Santiago Alves and Cathal Clark. Then Tiziano Kuznini, Filippo Sala, Raul Janjardin, Luis Laveau, Monteiro, Fardin, Benito, Kamyab, Shioda, Ramakes, Gillard, Gerling, Dalakian and Flusha from Barryberg, Corby, Dominguez, Valsort, Housley and Behrman. 36 of them battling for the next 10 laps. And is it going to be a good start? It is! Perfect getaway from Leo Robinson. Jan Paral is going to try and hold it around the outside, but it's a good one from Koulibaly. He's going to get into second place as they run through the first corner. All 36 drivers chop their way through. It's the biggest field we've had so far this weekend. As they swap through to the first corner, there's going to be a lot of battles in the chicane. A few drivers trying to make a move or two. And there's a spin. It's Luna Flusha. Luna Flusha has spun in the chicane. Now, I don't know whether that was on her own or assisted, but yet another difficulty for Luna Flusha in her fabulous weekend. In Friday, it started with her fastest in qualifying, but ever since then, it's just been a difficult one ever since. And now Koulibaly going for the lead. Koulibaly gets through on Robinson. Paral and Sanchez are right there. So Paral and Perez are there in third and fourth. In fact, Paral is going for the second position. No, he's not. He's going for the lead. Jan Paral takes the lead. Absolutely brilliant from Jan Paral. What a first lap. He dropped down into about third or fourth position at one stage and has just fought his way straight back. And they're going for it early doors. And his teammate, Perez, has come up in second place. So the Monlau Competition squad, Jan Paral and Sandro Perez are first and second. Third now is Hugo Marti. What a start. Leo Robinson is down to fifth position now behind Alex Martinez. Martinez has come up into fourth place. Leo Robinson is fifth. And in sixth place is Dennis Koulibaly. Well, the Spanish drivers definitely got up this morning and had a good breakfast because they are very alert and charging their way through. And there's a couple of drivers in some difficulties in the chicane. There's a few more moves work and some do not. But there's a lot of great overtakes as drivers are trying to force their way through the field. A lot of manoeuvres through the field from the likes of Behrman and Housley. They are charging through the field. Some good moves from the likes of Martinez. He's up to fourth. Werrell is up to ninth from Edu Robinson and Hugo Sanchez. Tijano Kuznini and Filippo Sala are on the move. Cahal Clark has made up some ground. And so has Thibaut Ramakers. So here are the two leaders up front. And these guys are just going to disappear out front, aren't they? The teammates, they're just going to work together and charge away. This was the game plan. Paral in front of Perez. And the two of them are just disappearing out front. Third place is Hugo Marti. Fourth is Leo Robinson. He's got past Alex Martinez. And Santiago Alves has got past Dennis Koulibaly now. From Martin, Werrell, Robinson, Sanchez, Straubing, Kuznini, Sala and Cahal Clark. Then Jardin, Ramakers, Leveau, Benito, Martinez, Montero, Fardin, Behrman and Kanyab. So they push their way forward. Some great racecraft in the midfield. But out in front, it's the Monlau Competition twins of Jan Paral and Sandro Perez. A lot of good comments have been said about these two over the weekend. They've really come into their own. And Jan Paral and Sandro Perez have now got a great team advantage, working 1 and 2 as Leo Robinson gets into third place. So Robinson fights back and gets into P3. Now he taps his helmet to Hugo Marti that he's just overtaken. Come on, let's work together. Let's team up. We can't let these two get away. Paral and Perez are playing the team game now. They're just disappearing out front. They'll start racing on lap 10. But Robinson is up the inside to claim third position. And in fourth now is Alex Martinez. He gets past Hugo Marti. And the two leaders are just stretching out the advantage. This is what they wanted to do. So Paral and Perez playing the perfect team game up front. Teamwork is obviously where it's at. The big problem now is who is going to be able to sustain this heading into the final, because they both want to win it. It is a team sport to a certain extent, but once you get into the last lap, it's all bets off. So Paral and Perez have a decent advantage now over Leo Robinson in third. He's pulling away from the fourth place battle, which is Martinez, Marti, Alves, Martin, Koulibaly and Lewis Werrell. So they're all tagging together through. It's never easy when you've got so many drivers to battle against. Oh, and there's a little slide there and a bit of an incident through the S's. That looked like Thomas Straubing getting in there with Filippo Sala and Tijano Kuznini. So Cahal Clark got through as a result of that one. And that's put him up to 12th. So Jan Paral and Sandro Perez still dueling in the final chicane, but they're just stretching out the gap at the moment. So Sandro Perez sat in second place. He's the one with the advantage here. He's doing all the hard work. Jan Paral is obviously out in front. Sandro Perez trying to get away. Are they going to want to switch positions and now assist each other out? 4 laps done and 4 to go. But Sandro Perez, I think, will be quite happy sat in second position. He knows that if he just stays there, right on the back bumper of his teammate, he can have a very calm and quiet race. Now, further back, we've got some terrific battles going on through the field. Looks like Cahal Clark has dropped his train of carts, and getting up to the front end of his That looks like one of the Fusion drivers has worked his way through the field. I think that is Roman Kamyab working his way through to the front of his queue. And that's the thing. You've just got to battle in there with each of your competitors. You've got little races through the field, which will definitely help improve your standpoint. Lewis Werrell is up to 8th place past Yusuf Martin, and it looks like Adrian Benito has got past Raul Jardin and Noah Montero to get into 18th place. The leaders down the straight once again. 5 done, 5 to go. And Jan Paral sets a new fastest lap with Sandro Perez just a whisker off that time. In fact, he was 1,000th of a second slower. That's absolutely unbelievable. The two of them just charging away up front. Robinson is 3rd, 4th is Marti, 5th is Alves. So Santiago Alves is there with Alex Martinez and Hugo Sanchez. Then Lewis Werrell and Dennis Cunavali. Eddie Robinson, Yusuf Martin, Cahal Clark and Filippo Sala. Then Lavaux, Kuznini, Straven, Rabacas, Benito, Janjardin, Montero and Behrman. Behrman is up to 21st. What a comeback drive from the KR Sport driver. Some great races through the field as well. Marius Barryberg has made up 7 places. Daniel Delakian and Eduardo Dominguez have made up a few places themselves, as have Matt Corby and Freddie Housley. So some good moves through the field. It looks like Bosco Arias has had an incident or two out there. He's down at the back of the field now. So that is a disaster for Bosco Arias. Oh, it looks as though at the back end of the field, Luna Flusha has made a mistake trying to go for an overtake as well. That's dropped her down to 35th. Not great from her point of view either. Up the inside, this is the battle for 3rd, and that's Marti. Marti takes on 3rd from Robinson. So Hugo Marti into 3rd position. These two have just streaked away, and now the fight for victory in the pre-final is going to be between the two teammates. Jan Paral and Sandro Perez. Hugo Marti's got into the fastest lap position. He's set the new fastest lap, and he's up to 3rd. Chased Leah Robinson to get there. So Leah Robinson is 4th now in front of Santiago Alves, then Hugo Sanchez, Alex Martinez, Edu Robinson, Dennis Cunavali, and Lewis Werrell. Here comes Robinson back on the inside of Marti. That's back into 3rd position. And now it's a chance for Santiago Alves. The Billalart gets through in a 4th position. But on the exit, he's going to lose out again to Marti. Marti gets back on the inside, and Cunavali is trying to get in there. Sorry, that's Sanchez. Sanchez is trying to get in there. And then it's Martinez. From Robinson, Cunavali, Werrell, Martin, Clark and Sala. And up the inside of Robinson, he's going to lose 2 places now. Marti is through and Alves is through. So Santiago Alves is now bolted like glue to the back bumper of Hugo Marti. They're only racing for 3rd, and there goes Sanchez. Sanchez gets through on the inside of Robinson for 5th place. Here comes Alex Martinez. Edu Robinson is in 8th position as well. Fantastic battle here for 3rd position. 3rd down to 8th. And then in 9th, 10th and 11th we've got Cunavali, Werrell and Martin, and they are closing up on the field. But these two are well out in front. 2 corners clear of the battle. As up the inside comes Sanchez. He's going to commit to the move on Santiago Alves with not enough room and not enough power to commit to it. And so Alves gets the run on the inside of Hugo Marti and gets through into 3rd. And there's a proper scrap now as Robinson gets back on the inside of Sanchez. That puts him into 5th. And there goes Martinez now. Martinez on the inside of Sanchez. And Edu Robinson is going to try and get through on the back straight. Terrific racing from 3rd downwards. The leaders are well checking out, and they've got 2 laps to go. So that's when their race is going to start. But 3rd position is a critical position on the grid to be in, because if you're in 3rd place, you can split these two up front. Marti's going for 3rd. Robinson up the inside for 4th. And he gets there. Alves down to 5th again. 6th is Sanchez in front of Martinez and Robinson. Robinson, in fact, has got through now on Martinez. A big squabble up the inside. Alves is going to get hung out to dry around the outside. Robinson back in 3rd place. Past Sanchez and Marti. Marti's going to hang back in 6th position now behind Edu Robinson. And Marianito has been given a warning flag for some transgression out on the circuit. Couldn't see what that was. But a problem there for Marianito. And up the inside, that is a lovely move from Marti. He gets in a 5th position back again. And Marti was down in about 4th or 5th position at one stage. So Sanchez is through in a 4th. Alex Martinez has got through on Robinson and Alves. Oh, and that's sideways for Lewis Werrell. Lewis Werrell was getting himself stuck in there. Now there's a lead change. Sandro Perez has got into the lead with 1 lap to go on his teammate Jan Paral. And now the teammates are going to be racing each other. It's all bets off. They've got a decent lead. As long as you don't take each other out, you can do what you like. You can race each other. They're great mates off the circuit, these two. Sandro Perez and Jan Peral, great teammates, great buddies, but now all bets are off, and now they are racing each other. Sandro Perez in front of Jan Peral had a nice little wave to them this morning as they went to watch a race from the top of the gantry, and you wouldn't know that they were fighting, that they were going to fight as much as they are now. They looked happy as Larry and cool as cucumbers. Now they are racing, and there goes Jan Peral. Jan Peral goes into the hairpin and gets the place. Sandro Perez isn't done yet though. He's going to get the switch back on the inside. Sandro Perez back into the lead once again on Jan Peral. Now they've got the back straight and the chicane. Sandro Perez hangs onto the inside line. Jan Peral trying to get the switch back. Well defended by Perez. Peral's going to try and go the long way round. Right, left, right, but I think Sandro Perez has done enough. Sandro Perez wins the pre-final, and that's pole position for the final. 2 hands in the air. The strategist, the master tactician, Sandro Perez gets the victory in the pre-final from his teammate Jan Peral. He saved his best till last, and now Sandro Perez will start the pre-final from pole position for the Monlau Competition squad. That's their first pole position in the IAME Winter Cup mini class as well. Sandro Perez drives beautifully towards the closing stages, read every incident with candour and wisdom. Brilliant. Sandro Perez wins from Jan Peral, Leo Robinson in third, Hugo Sanchez in fourth place from Hugo Marti and Santiago Alves, Alex Martinez and Lewis Werrell, then Youssef Martin and Dennis Cudavali in the top 10. Louis Leveau is 11th from Eric Robinson in 12th position. Then it's Cahal Clark in front of Filippo Sala, Tiziano Cugnini and Thomas Strauben. Adrian Benito is 17th from Raul Janjaren. Kian Farin and Tibor Ramakers from Raul Martinez and Marius Barryberg up to 22nd. Noah Montero and Daniel Dalakian come next. Then it's Thomas Behrman and Roman Kanyab from Sochira Shioda and Marianito, Matt Corby and Luna Flusha from Eduardo Dominguez, Alta Valsort, Timo Gillard, Hector Gerling, Freddie Housley and Bosco Arias all the way down in 36th, a former race winner this weekend. There's going to be an absolutely feisty and frenetic race later on for the final, but that is a lovely taster of what we can expect to see from them. 2 drivers have won the junior title over the last 3 runnings of the event. Mari Boyer in 2017 and 18, Oliver Behrman in 2019. This year, there will be a new title winner, whatever happens, because both of those drivers are now in senior, and it's up to the juniors out there on the grid, all 36 of them, to decide who's going to be the next IAME Winter Cup title winner. And what a front row of the grid. The KR Sport twins of Freddie Spindlow and Daniel Ginchard. These two have got victory written all over them, but they're going to have to battle on track to make it happen. And obviously, with their teammate in there as well, Alfie Rigby in fourth alongside Santiago Valde, this is going to be quite the pre-final. So Freddie Spindlow will start from pole position, still riding the wave off the back of his fantastic victory at Salisbury at the end of the 2019 season in the IAME Euro Series. Ever since then, he has just been smooth, stylish and speedy. He's perfect over 1 lap. Can he keep it together in racecraft? That's going to be the tough craft. Dan Ginchard alongside him has proved himself over the last 12 months in the IAME Euro paddock. Last year, he was a surprise pole position sitter from qualifying. But this year, it's no surprise he's at the front. Second on the grid, and with plenty still to do. Santiago Valde for Kart Republic Spain flies the flag for his own country in third position, and his consistency and smooth operation has been absolutely immaculate. He took the final heat yesterday after the chaos of Alfie Rigby crossing the line first meant he got a 5-second penalty, but he still starts from fourth position. And let's not forget that had he not had that penalty, he would have been pole position as an unbeaten 3-time heat winner. So Alfie Rigby is definitely a contender for this victory and certainly for the title. Arvid Lindblad, what a debut in the IAME Euro paddock. He's had an absolutely exceptional weekend. 5th position for the start of this pre-final. Plenty still to do on the Red Speed chassis for Oliver Rowland Motorsport, and it will be quite an incredible race that he will have. Alongside him on the grid, another of the star Spaniards from the field, ever impressive, Bruno Del Pino for the TD Kart Marlon squad. And Bruno has been absolutely superb over this weekend, always fighting for the victory, always up at the sharp end, never giving anything other than his best. 7th on the grid is Miguel Pero Luzaraga, a former IAME Winter Cup winner, of course, back in 2018 in the minis, and he's up there in 7th on the grid in the juniors. He's got a great chance to make something special happen, and he's definitely one of those who can convert a good grid position into a victory. However, the man alongside him is one of the heroes of the hour at the moment, Olli Pilka. The nightmare qualifying session saw him at the back of the grid, but how he's turned his weekend around to be 8th on the grid for the pre-final is quite astonishing. An absolutely incredible performance from the man who never does things by halves. The Polish driver for Dan Holland Racing always gives us plenty of entertainment, and yet again he has stormed from the back to the front with plenty more drama to come. 9th on the grid is Ivan Arias for the Kart Republic Spain squad. He will start from 9th on the starting grid to round out the top 10 with his countryman for Fusion Motorsport alongside him, and that is Guillermo Delgado, having had amazing performances so far this weekend, fresh out of Mini into Junior and up at the sharp end. In 11th place, it's been a bit of a comeback style performance as well from Archie Walker for the Argenti Motorsport squad and their first weekend in the IAME Euro paddock. It's not Archie's, but he's certainly put on some incredible performances, having to run pretty much from the midfield to force his way up through the order. His overtaking prowess has been exceptional, in the top 5 twice out of the 3 heats, and definitely forcing the issue many times over. He's there in 11th on merit, and he's going to have to go toe-to-toe with the ever-fast Bart Harrison in the Mick Barrett Racing squad alongside him on the outside of the 6th row. And Bart Harrison is not in the position he wanted to be in. He started every heat from the front row after being exceptionally quick in qualifying, so he's got more stories to tell. 12th position may not be as low as he finishes. 13th on the grid is the reigning IAME Winter Cup Mini title winner, Freddie Slater. Now in the junior, his first ever junior race resulted in a victory, but a DNF later in the weekend has put him to 13th on the grid. But he won't be as low as that if he's got anything to say about it. Alongside him on the grid, on the 7th row, the ever-impressive Austrian Clarissa Dervic for the Praga España team. She's been absolutely exceptional all weekend long, and you do get the sense that 14th is not going to be enough for her. The drivers come out onto the grid, and we'll hear from more of these incredible racers, 36 of them, as they go to battle here in Valencia. The front row is Freddie Spindler and Dan Ginchard. The second is Santiago Valve and Alfie Rigby. From Arvid Lindblad and Bruno Del Pino, then Miguel Pedro Zoraga and Olli Pilka. Ivan Arias and Guillermo Delgado. From Archie Walker and Bart Harrison. Freddie Slater and Clarissa Dervic. Then the Strawberry Racing twins of Aaron Walker and Yevan David. Charlie Webb in a brilliant 17th from Kanato Lee of Japan. Marcus Nuzio in disappointing 19th alongside Brandon Carr in 20th, but both will be fighting back. Nathan Ottick and Edward Pearson fighting in the 11th row. Juan Cota is 23rd from Ruben Volt. Then Andrea Mustienes and Jack Cox. Harvey Riley 27th alongside Elia Papacena. Then Benjamin Hovelak and Jorge Martinez from Federico Scalvini, Paul Cayos, Sergio Ruiz, Brandon Templeton, Roma Andriolo, and the hero of the second chance heat, Mikai Singh. So we'll see some truly spectacular battles between these 36 drivers. They will be absolutely nail-biting to watch around this Valencia circuit. They always deliver spectacular action and drama. And Spindlow versus Ginchard on the front row of the grid is just one of those battles we're set to see. Keep an eye on Alfie Rigby as well from 4th on the grid. Their teammate is going to be very much a factor. But with the KR trio filling 1st, 2nd and 4th on the grid, there are many drivers who could make a bit of a steal here. Santiago Valve knows this circuit very well, racing here of course as he does in his native Spain. Arvid Lindblad from 5th on the grid has been mighty. Bruno Del Pino and Miguel Peru have won here before. Miguel Peru in the IAME Winter Cup 2 years ago in the minis. Olli Pilka has had an amazing run of form here. Last year he rolled it on the practice sessions on Thursday and had to have a new helmet, new race suit, everything at the last minute, and still fought back to the podium. This year he's starting 8th, and he's got a great chance to fight forward. The likes of Arias and Delgado, Archie Walker and Bart Harrison should have a good run as well. What can Freddie Slater and Clarissa Dervic do from the 7th row? Aaron Walker, fastest of all on Friday, 15th on the grid for this one, and his very impressive Sri Lankan teammate Yevan David are there as well as the impressive rookie Charlie Webb for Precision Racing, alongside the Japanese star Kanato Lee. Marcus Nuzio is down in 19th, but he'll be fighting his way back through the field for sure as the leading seed, the number 3. Oh, there's been a spin on the way to the grid. Now that is one of the Spirit Racing carts, I do believe, that spun out. trying to get himself back into position. I think that's Elia Papacina. False start. So Elia Papacina gets going again, but he was out of position and was desperately trying to get himself back into position. And that's not worked out well. And he wasn't the only one to have a similar style of incident. We had two of them, I think, have a similar problem. And I think the other one of those, well, I'll try and figure out who it was, but I think he had Elia Papacina have a problem, and I think the other one was Jorge Martinez. Well, that was pretty chaotic. And of course, Martin Bean having the only option but to throw another formation lap. You need to get yourself into position sensibly and organised. Of course, the guys at the front have no idea what happened. But Freddie Spindler and Dan Ginchard now in position. Santiago Valde and Alfie Rigby on the second row. Lindblad and Del Pino. From Pero, Pilka, Arias, Delgado, Walker, Harrison, Slater, Dervich, Aaron Walker, David, Webb, Lee, Lucio, Carr, Ottink and Pearson. From Cota, Volt, Mustienis and Cox, Ryby and Papacina, Homanak and Martinez. From Scalvini, Gaios, Ruiz, Templeton, Andriolo and Singh. They've come from all over the world to be here. This race is the penultimate one that will decide an IAME Winter Cup title winner. But it's going to be fierce, it's going to be furious, it's going to be close. 12 laps around this Valencia circuit. Spindler on the inside, Ginchard on the outside, 34 fighting tigers behind them. Let's race to Valencia. Cracking start from Spindler. Ginchard is going to still be there. Rigby's going to try and have his teammate move further forward. Rigby's going to split his teammate and up the inside of Alve. And Rigby has got himself into a brilliant start there. He's on the grass. That hasn't worked out at all. And through comes Lindblad. Through goes Bruno Albino. Nico Bellero's on the back of him. And now the drivers are trying to work their way through the first chicane. A couple of drivers further down the order. What has happened to Dan Ginchard? He's slipped down the order quite a few places now. He's tucked up behind one of the Fusions. So it's not the greatest of starts for Dan Ginchard. But out in front it is Spindler and Lindblad. Spindler leads from Lindblad in second. Santiago Valver is third. Fourth is Bruno Del Pino. And after a trip over the grass, fifth is Alfie Rigby. You can't have a go at Rigby for pushing his weight around. He really wants to get himself up the order. And that was an aggressive start. Sixth place, Miguel Perro is trying to hold back from a fast starting Ollie Pilka. Archie Walker's trying to fend off two or three of them into the chicane as well as Pilka gets past Perro. And Walker holds off Slater, Walker and Dan Ginchard. And Spindler was the leader. Now it's Lindblad in front of Valve. Santiago Valve in the second, but Lindblad is your leader. Arvid Lindblad leads in Valencia. Rigby is now fourth in front of Bruno Del Pino. Archie Walker loses out to Freddie Slater, who charges up the inside line for 8th position. Archie Walker now in front of Aaron Walker. Then it's Arias, Delgado. Ginchard is 13th after starting second. Then it's Harrison, David, Lucio, Webb, Ottink, Cota, Carr and the rest. So Santiago Valve now tucked up behind Arvid Lindblad. It's going to be a tough race from here on out, that is for certain. Alfie Rigby there in 4th position, trying to close up on his teammate Freddie Spindler. If he can get into the toe of him, then they have a chance to charge forward. Dan Ginchard's going to have to do this the hard way though. He's having to fight his way back from the tail end. Charlie, he's up to 12th already with Harrison past Delgado. Lucio has got past Ivan David and Brandon Carl has made the move on Juan Cota. But here's Lindblad, Valve and Spindler at the front end of the field. Lindblad your leader. Valve second. Is there a problem for Spindler? He's losing ground on the main straight. I wonder if Spindler's got a problem developing here, because he's lost a lot of ground to the two leaders up front. Rigby is there in 4th, but Santiago Valve is having a look at Arvid Lindblad. Great little battle going on between those two. Meanwhile, there's been some absolutely heroic drives through the field so far. 4 positions made up for Ben Hovelak. Harvey Ryder's made up 3. Scalvini's made up 5. Ruiz has come up 4, and Mikai Singh has as well. So some good battles through the field. That's Pilka making a late lunge there. Ollie Pilka with a brilliant late lunge on Bruno Del Pino, and that puts him into 5th position. So Lindblad out in front of Valve and Spindler. Then in 4th is Rigby, Pilka, Del Pino, Piero, and then it is Slater in front of the Walkers. Aaron in front of Archie now from Dan Ginchard in 11th and Ivan Arias in 12th. Lindblad sets the fastest lap of the race, which is immediately then beaten by Ollie Pilka, and a big dive from Pero on his countryman. Bruno Del Pino has to succumb as Pero goes for it, and now Freddie Slater is sizing up the 2 Spaniards next up through the chicane. And Arvid Lindblad leads the way. Second, Santiago Valve. Fastest lap of the race comes from Dan Ginchard. He's now tucked up behind Aaron Walker. He's got past Archie. Now he needs to go for Aaron. So this is going to be a tough fight. Arvid Lindblad in front of Santiago Valde and Freddie Spindlow. Rigby, Pilker, Berro, Del Pino, Slater, and up the inside comes Bruno Del Pino on Miguel Berro. Slater's trying to come around the outside and then get the switch back for the inside line. Lovely bit of racecraft from Freddie Slater as he takes on Miguel Berro. Both of them former winners of the IAME Winter Cup over the last 2 seasons. Berro in 2018, Slater in 2019, and now they're battling for the junior honours. And they're in a decent position now. Slater in 7th from Berro in 8th. They've got a good chance to make it work. But we've got so much racing still to do. 4 down, 8 to go. And then there's a final afterwards. Berro getting a run on Del Pino out of the turn. As Lindblad and Valde have been caught back by Freddie Spindlow. Spindlow's caught them again. And Dan Ginchard gets another new fastest lap. 57.5. Now that he's up to 9th past Aaron Walker. And Miguel Berro has made the move on Bruno Del Pino. As Dan Ginchard closes up on them. In fact, I'm fairly sure he's already got them, has he? No, he's closing in on Bruno Del Pino this time. So Lindblad has got Santiago Valde and Freddie Spindlow in tow. Rigby is 4th, closing in. Pilker's catching them as well. There's Ginchard battling with Aaron Walker. Walker trying to get back on the inside line. And he's made it stick. Ginchard's had to let him go. So a very tough battle through this field. Lindblad is just controlling the pace up front with Santiago Valde. Valde wants to play the long game. He wants to get away with Arvid Lindblad. But Spindlow and Rigby are catching. Aaron Walker back into 9th place in front of Ginchard as we know. Then it's Harrison in 11th from Archie Walker and Ivan Arias. Lutzio's up to 14th now from Ivan David and Guillermo Delgado. Then Charlie Webb, Brandon Carr, Carissa Dervich and Edward Pearson. Then it is Kota, Volt, Otting, Hovelak, Ruiz, Lee, Ryby, Cox, Scalvini and Mikai Singh. So a good battle up at the front end of the field. Arvid Lindblad just pacing himself. He doesn't need to do anything too fast or too reckless. Santiago Valde, a big slide from him in 2nd place. That's put Freddie Spindlow right on the back bumper. And if Spindlow uses the draft, he can edge both of them towards the race leader, Arvid Lindblad, down the back straight. Watch how quickly they're going to get onto the back of Lindblad. This is going to be the chance they've been waiting for. Valde's going to tuck out, is he? No. So Valde still wants to work with the race leader, Arvid Lindblad. After 6 laps done, 6 to go, they still want to stretch out the gap. Is this going to be the chance? Spindlow's not going to wait around. Spindlow's going to go for 2nd, and he's there. Freddie Spindlow into P2 past Santiago Valde. Alfie Rigby still P4. And that's going to be a tight battle for Lindblad. Lindblad had to defend there, and that's caught out Spindlow. Pilker gets through. Slater gets through. Oh my word, Freddie Spindlow not quite able to hold on to his position, having got onto it. And so now it's Lindblad who is being ultra defensive, and it's Harvey Ryby in trouble at the chicane. Harvey Ryby's out of the race. That's a real shame as Rigby goes on the inside and grabs 2nd. Pilker's going to get through as well into 3rd. He's crowded out though, and that's a move up the inside from Valde and from Freddie Slater up into P4. Meanwhile, Harvey Ryby is off at the chicane at the end of the 1st sector. That's a real shame for him. He's going to have to start the final from the back of the grid after one of his most impressive weekends to date. Slater trying to come around the outside of Santiago Valde. How did he make that one stick? Absolutely incredible move. And now we've got Lindblad and Rigby side by side in the first corner. Slater's got the move. He had to back out of that at the last possible minute. Rigby trips over Lindblad. Slater now trying to come back in. Pilker up the inside of Slater. And this is getting Papa Feisty. Valde's gone for a spin. Valde spins it. Oh, it's all gone wrong for Santiago Valde. What a shame. The Spaniard started 3rd and was in the fight for the victory. And he gets spat out of the chicane. Well, he's not going to be happy at all. And he technically now leads the race because he's missed half a circuit. But that's going to come back to bite him. He'll get anywhere between a 10-second penalty or a lap lost, depending on the severity of the incident. Meanwhile, that's Aaron Walker back on the inside of Freddie Slater. So much has happened. Lindblad is still in front of Rigby for the victory, and they're defending, getting out of the way of Santiago Valde. Lindblad parks himself on the inside apex, but is Rigby going to get through? He's gone over the grass to take the lead. Rigby in front of Lindblad. Here comes Spindlow and Ginchard. What is Ginchard doing in 4th place? What a comeback. Spindlow now getting into the lead of the race in front of Rigby. Ginchard trying to get up the inside of his teammate, and Lindblad nudges Ginchard in the braking zone. Here comes Aaron Walker and Freddie Slater to the inside of Lindblad. Lindblad's got nothing he can do about it. Walker through into 4th place. Lindblad now protects from Del Pino, who gets through past Slater and Bart Harrison. What a race! And we've still got 3.5 laps to go. The 3 KRs are now 1, 2 and 3 after all of that. Spindlow leads, Rigby second and Ginchard third. But obviously there's been all sorts of shenanigans to lead up to that point. Walker is now fourth in front of Lindblad, Delpino, Slater, Harrison, Pilker and Lucio, who's up in the 10th place. What a fight back from him as well. Into the chicane. 3 laps to go. Oh, and there goes Lindblad. Lindblad goes through the chicane. Wow, that's a big problem for Lindblad. He's going to lose so much ground. He slots in behind his teammate Brandon Carr. And I think he's going to lose a couple more places in the first corner. Terrible luck for Lindblad. But Spindlow, Rigby and Ginchard are still absolutely at it. The 3KR teammates. And now we're in the closing stages of the race, of course. So it's every man for himself. They've got an advantage over Aaron Walker. It's not much, but they've got a chance to make something of it now. Down the back straight. Spindlow's protecting against Rigby. And now Rigby with a beautiful switchback on his teammate. Spindlow still protects. Ginchard gets up the inside line. Rigby to the outside. Ginchard forces the issue. And it's going to be tight. But Ginchard is in a second place. Rigby down to third. Ginchard now going for Spindlow. Can he do it? He's going to get up the inside line. Ginchard takes the lead with 2 to go. What a fight back. He was down in about 14th at one stage. Ginchard now leads it. Protects from Spindlow. Rigby coming on the far side. This is only the pre-final. How good is the final going to be? 2 to go. Ginchard in front of Spindlow and Rigby, his teammates. And now Walker and Slater have caught them up. Rigby on the inside of Spindlow. He gets second. Aaron Walker and Freddie Slater are right in there for the hunt as well. They're in 4th and 5th. Don't count them out. Aaron Walker was ridiculously fast on Friday. And Freddie Slater won his first ever junior race yesterday. So there's still big factors in this. Up the outside comes Aaron Walker, and he's got Spindlow. Aaron Walker gets Spindlow, and now Slater up the inside. He's in 4th. What a move. Superb on the back straight. And now it's Ginchard versus Rigby for the victory. Pilker with a warning flag. So Pilker with a warning flag. Ginchard's now going to move to cover Rigby. Here comes Slater and Walker deep into the braking zone. They slide sideways. And here comes Bar Harrison up alongside the 45 of Freddie Spindlow. Last lap. Ginchard versus Rigby for the win. Walker's third. 4th is Slater. And now 5th is Bar Harrison in front of Spindlow. 7th is Pilker. What a race! We're on the last lap and it's not done yet. Ginchard's still got a move to protect from his teammate Alfie Rigby. They were implacable rivals in the British scene 2 years ago. Now they're teammates and still fighting rivals. All sorts of drama in this pre-final. Slater attacks Walker into the braking zone for the left-hand hairpin. Now he's going to get it for third on the inside. Slater times it to perfection and now he's in P3. What a move in the final stages of this lap. Meanwhile, Rigby is trying to get past Dan Ginchard. Ginchard squeezes. Dives to the inside line. Rigby trying to come wide for the switchback, but Ginchard's going to get it over the curbs for Slater. And Ginchard wins from Rigby. Oh my goodness. What a race. What a victory for Dan Ginchard. If it stands, pole position for the final is his. You would never have expected that fight back 6 laps ago. It was down in about 8th with no chance at all. But never, ever give up, especially when you're Dan Ginchard. What a fight. What a race. And Dan Ginchard beats his teammate Alfie Rigby in a battle royale. Well, the victory goes the way then of Dan Ginchard provisionally from Alfie Rigby and Freddie Slater in 3rd. What a drive. Harrison in 4th from Aaron Walker and Freddie Spindlow. Ollie Pilker and Marcus Lucio. Then Nigo Beru and in the top 10, Yavan David. Ed Pearson is 11th from Bruno Delpino. Santiago Valva down to 13th in the end from Brandon Carr and Archie Walker. Guillermo Delgado and Arvid Lindblad. Ivan Arias and Ruben Volt. Clarissa Dervich and Sergio Ruiz from Ben Homelak and Kanato Lee. Juan Cota is 24th in the final reckoning. Jack Cox and Mikai Singh up 10 places. Nathan Ottick is 27th in front of Federico Scalvini and Charlie Webb. Brandon Templeton is 30th from Adrià Mustienis, Barcayos, Jorge Martinez, Roman Angelo and Elia Papacina with only one retirement, and that was Harvey Ryby. That was, without a shadow of a doubt, the best Junior X30 pre-final I have ever seen. What a race. Absolutely stupendous. But if you thought we were done, far from it. We've still got a race that promises to potentially be an even tougher pre-final, and that is the Senior X30 race. 36 drivers are now confirmed as going through, and it's 6 drivers we probably weren't expecting. So we'll confirm the 6 that managed to go through. Alejandro Schimpf, who won the race in front of Ivan Batalla in the second chance. Third was Rivaldo van der Westerleken in the end. Alicia Barrett is classified as 4th. Teddy Williams as 5th. And Erbelt Moore as 6th. So he does get through in the bitter end. Once again, proof that you should never ever give up. You never know what's going to happen. So the 36 drivers that get there, it's going to be an amazing battle. From the front row of the grid, we are going to have drama. We have had 3 title winners in the Senior X30 Winter Cup over the years. First one was Jordan Brown-Nutley back in 2017. In 2018, it went the way of Clayton Ravenscroft, ironically enough, in number 259 KR Sport, as Oliver Behrman carries now. Last year, it was Dean McDonald, and this year, who knows? It really is going to be very tight. A brief run down the grid. Oliver Behrman, his first weekend as a senior, 3 wins and a second. Pretty much perfect in this incredible field of drivers. Alongside him on the grid, with 3 wins and a 5th, Callum Bradshaw, very much in the fight, and the 2 men have been almost unstoppable all weekend long. They take their battle into the pre-final. In third place, the leading Spanish seed in this one, on the inside of the second row, is Ruben Moya, with a point to prove and a home victory in the offing. If he could win, he would be the first Spaniard to win on home soil in the IAME Winter Cup for seniors. This would be quite the fillet for him. Cian Shields, though, the Flying Scotsman on the second row of the grid on the outside, is the leading contender for the breakthrough to the front row. He's there having had a brilliant couple of races yesterday, and he's actually being coached by Dean McDonald over the course of the last couple of years as well. But Cian Shields is there in 4th position, and it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on from the second row. Alejandro Lahoz and Philip Vava will be the all-Spanish third row. It's an all-Spanish 4th row as well. Daniel Nogales and Maui Boya. This is going to be quite exceptional. Guillermo de Oliveira and Mark Kimber will be together on the 5th row of the grid. Dean McDonald will be 11th on the grid on the race that will be his defensive title, and Josep Vea in 12th. Eduardo Cosseteng and Sean Butcher. Eduardo Cosseteng's victory yesterday was absolutely majestic, and the Philippine is there in 13th alongside his Australian teammate Sean Butcher, who spent most of yesterday fighting back. Lewis Gilbert starts in 15th place, the Dolby Diamond, on the 8th row of the grid alongside Sam Balota, who's now in his new berth, of course, at Dan Holland Racing. Connor Jupp and Morgan Porter, 2 stalwarts of the British scene, are here on the 9th row of the grid, and Josh Rowledge and Zach Ripley will round out the top 20. Harry Platten and Matilda Olsen are together on row 11. Then Jaime Sanz and Maximus Meyer are together on row 12. Alessandro Seminetti lines up beside Emil Karjalainen. And then Maciej Chichko lines up alongside Guy Cunnington in his first ever X30 event. Xavier Hansheim and Tyler Reid are together on row 15. From the 6 that made it through from the second chance. Alejandro Schimpf, Ivan Batalla, Rivaldo van der Westerleken, Alicia Barrett, Teddy Williams and Erbelt Moore. Now, this will only be the second time all weekend, of course, that Oliver Behrman and Callum Bradshaw have driven together on track. But in that encounter, it was Bradshaw that emerged victorious. However, his 4th race was not quite the result he wanted, but he decided that the percentages were good enough to put him in 2nd place. And let's not forget that when he started 2nd against Behrman yesterday, he still beat him. So there's going to be a very interesting battle in front of us. The second row of the grid will see 2 very feisty racers though as well. Ruben Moya has been almost perfect this weekend in terms of his racecraft. He's always read the situation very well. He knows this circuit absolutely immaculately, and he's been able to read the situations every single time to perfection. Cian Shields, though, in 4th position, has fought his way into supremacy. In the Shields household, they said coming into this weekend they were a little bit nervous because they thought he was going to stay in junior. Cian decided, no, I want to go up against the best. I want to go in the seniors. I'll prove that I can do it. Proof positive. 4th position at the moment. What an exceptional performance from him. Lahoz, Vava, Nogales and Boya have been waving the flag for Spain all weekend, and they have been absolutely superb as well. Their 1-lap pace has been extraordinary all through the weekend, and all of them now want to take it to the top step of the podium, and they're going to have a tough mission to maintain it. But rounding out the top 10 is going to be Guilherme de Oliveira, the very talented Portuguese driver for KR Sport. And then alongside is the two-time IAME Euro Series title winner in 2018 and 19 in senior, Mark Kimber. And this is going to be his last weekend in the paddock for a while as he embarks on a season of Porsche racing in Great Britain. But obviously he wants to do so well. As of course does the man just behind him on the grid, Dean McDonald, who always returns to this event. Certainly has made a bit of a habit of it over the last couple of seasons. And he won the title last year, wants to win it again, but from 11th it will be tough. But one thing you can say about Kimber and McDonald, they never give up, and they always seem to be in the right place at the right time. So the fact that they're starting 10th and 11th is a little bit surprising, but don't expect them to stay as low as that as the race continues. So many factors within this race though. So many battles to be had. And this is the final race before we go to the finals. And we've already seen monstrous racing in the juniors and pretty tight and spectacular racing in the minis as well. Sandro Perez is likely to start in pole position for the minis. It looks as though Dan Ginchard is going to start in pole position for the juniors. Both of those, of course, subject to official confirmation. But it's anybody's guess who's going to get it in the seniors. On paper, Behrman has been very good at getting into the lead and disappearing. But Callum Bradshaw didn't let that happen when they met for the first time yesterday. So there's still a tough race ahead. And Bradshaw is, of course, last year's runner-up in the IAME Euro Series. So he knows this class better than most. But Ruben Moya knows this circuit better than most. This is his back garden in the equivalent of motorsport terms. Cian Shields, though, has had a lot of success here. His first ever season in the IAME Euro was in 2018. He came here as a complete novice, not just as a novice, but as a privateer, and ended up third in the junior race. So he has plenty of opportunities to charge his way forward. There's going to be some very exciting battles to watch here at Valencia, and we'll see some truly spectacular racing from all of them. They will have an absolutely amazing race to call. 36 drivers, and they have been gathered from all four corners of the globe to compete for this, the first major test of an IAME X30 driver in the motorsport season. The winner of this final later today not only walks away with a ticket to the IAME International Finals in October, but also a free pass for the IAME Euro Series. No entry fees needed. An absolutely incredible opportunity, and it's the golden ticket, and it sets your season in stone for a very good year, whatever happens. And for a lot of drivers, it's been the making or breaking of them, of course. The weekend back in 2018, a lot of people didn't really know the name of Clayton Ravenscroft. Well, 2 years on since that victory, he obviously went on to challenge for the title in IAME Euro Series in 2018. Didn't quite manage it, but nowadays he's off with Birala in the international scene, and you'll watch him in the FIA Karting Championships later on this year, right here, as promoted and hosted again by RGMMC. It's also been the grounding of Marty Boyer. He won the junior title in 2017 and 18, and now he is on the march to greatness. This could be his last karting weekend for a while as well, actually. And he wants to win it on home soil. He's won it twice already as a junior. He'd dearly love to win it as a senior. So many drivers with so many stories to tell, and so incredibly close. All of them have the ability to win this race. That is for certain. I'd put a list together of about 20 of them who I think can win this pre-final. But it's so close. That's the great thing about IAME X30. It gathers together the best talent from the best pools, from the best series around the world, and they come together and fight for greatness. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic battle, and we're going to see some truly exceptional racing as the competitors run around the Cartódromo Internacional Lucas Guerrero here in Valencia in Spain. In the gorgeous sunshine, the temperature is creeping up and rising all the time. It's gone up to 13 degrees Celsius, so the track temperature will be anywhere between 20 and 22 degrees Celsius roughly. And it will only get warmer as the sun continues to bake over the circuit. February is a very mixed condition month here in this part of the world. Freezing cold in the morning, very hot in the midday, and then as soon as the sun disappears behind the clouds, it gets chilly again. So it makes strategy and setup very difficult indeed. And having spoken to quite a few of the mechanics and drivers through the week, they have told me that this is one of the most important weekends, if not the most important weekend of a season. Even though the IAME International Finals is probably a huge global spectacle, in terms of the importance of the season, this is a massive one because it's the first major test of the European drivers for what they're going to do in 2020. It gives you a bit of an idea of what their form will be in the IAME Euro Series, and the winner, of course, will get a free pass to it. So it's a massive weekend of opportunity and a massive race ahead for the drivers. Now, there has been a bit of a delay, unfortunately, for the start of this one, but now we are getting ready to go. And I think that's largely because of some of the issues that there were to clear the previous race. There have been a few minutes of pause, unfortunately, between the previous race and this one. We were due to get started at 10 minutes past 12. It is now coming up to 18 minutes past 12 local time. But that doesn't detract from how exciting the race battle is going to be. Oliver Bearman will be on the inside line of the front row. 3 wins and a second this weekend. Callum Bradshaw, 3 wins and a fifth yesterday. That puts him right into contention for the victory. We're going to see a really exciting battle in Senior X30's pre-final, and this isn't even the main event. Considering how exciting the racing's actually been this weekend, I can think back and count about 20 races that could have been a final quite easily. Now that is just how exciting racing is at the IAME X30 Brigade in the Euro scene. The Winter Cup, always a tough test. This is their Winter Indy 500. It's one weekend, make or break, win or lose, put up or shut up. And they are going to have an absolutely amazing race to get the final grid decided for this Senior X30 title fight. Last year, we had 3 title winners, all from the United Kingdom in the 3 classes. Freddie Slater in Mini, Oliver Bearman in Junior, and Dean McDonald in Senior. This year could be very different indeed. We already have a Spanish pole sitter in the Mini, and it could well be either Jan Paral or Sandro Perez, who takes the first Spanish title in Mini since 2018, when it was Miguel Pero Luzaraga who got the job done for the FA Racing Spain squad 2 seasons ago. It's been Brits all the way in the juniors and seniors over the last 12 months, certainly in the title rankings. Marty Boyer in 8th on the grid, though, has the chance to become the first racer to win 3 IAME Winter Cups. He's won 2 in junior in 2017 and 18. He could get the job done in 2020. The engines are going to rise, though, as these competitors are going to set to go off into the distance. Callum Bradshaw has yet to win an IAME Winter Cup, but he could be one of the main challengers for the title. But Bearman goes off pole. Let's race for the penultimate time before the finals. Oliver Bearman and Callum Bradshaw, then Ruben Moya and Keane Shields, from Alejandro Lahoz and Philip Valver, Daniel Nogales and Mauri Boyer, Guillermo de Oliveira and Mark Kimber, Dean McDonald and Joseph Vea, Eduardo Cosseteng and Sean Butcher, from Lewis Gilbert and Sam Balota, Connor Jupp and Morgan Porter, Josh Rowledge and Zach Ripley, Harry Platten and Matilda Olsen, Jaime Sands and Maximus Meyer, Alessandro Senanetti and Emil Karjalainen, from Maggie Chichko and Guy Cunnington, Javier Hansheim and Tyler Reid, Ariandro Schimpf, Ivan Bataya, Rivaldo van Westerlaken, Alicia Barrett, Teddy Williams and Herbert Smoa. 36 drivers, and they have come from all over the world to be here. This is going to be one of the toughest, roughest, most grueling of races, and this isn't even the final. It's the pre-final. 15 laps around the circuit, and they are going to have quite an epic show. Oliver Bearman, his first ever weekend as a Senior X30 driver. He's been fast all week of testing, fastest of all in qualifying, and then 3 wins and a second yesterday. Put the 14-year-old from Chelmsford in Essex very much in the spotlight here this weekend as he goes up against the man on the front row with him, the only man to beat him yesterday, Callum Bradshaw. IAME Winter Cup has always eluded him, but he was the second man in the standings in last year's IAME Euro Series, the runner-up, and of course a former FIA Karting Academy Trophy title winner. So for these two on the front of the field, world class doesn't even cut it. Third place is Ruben Moya, the hometown hero. Can he get the job done in front of his home fans? He's got a mass of them here this weekend. Friends and family from all over have flocked to Valencia to watch this boy get the job done. Keane Shields, all the way from Glasgow in Scotland, is there on the second row of the grid with him. And after his performances here in the past 2 seasons, he's got a great chance to emerge as a senior title winner again. And how beautiful a story would that be 12 months after his driver coach and Brendan rival Dean McDonald got the job done for the same team 12 months ago. Behrman and Bradshaw, Moya and Shields, Lahoz and Vava, Nogales and Boyer, De Oliveira and Kimber, from McDonald, Vea, Cosseteng and Butcher, Gilbert, Balota, Jupp, Porter, Rowledge and Ripley, Platten and Olsen, Sands, Meyer, Sedonetti and Karjalainen, Chichko, Cunnington, Hansame and Reed, Schimpf and Bataya, Van der Westerlaken and Barrett, from Williams and Moore. Behrman on the inside, Bradshaw on the outside. Engine revs rise, we're in the tram line, let's race to Valencia! And already as an off over the background, it looked like Guy Cunnington got onto the grass. Bradshaw again with a brilliant start. And here comes Shields around the outside. Bradshaw and Shields are going to get in the first and second. No, Shields can't quite make it. Two cars come off in the middle of the field. Up in the braking zone for the exit of turn one. And through the chicane, lots of drivers trying to make it through. And there's a spin. One or two of them have gone together in the chicane. And that looks to me like it's one of the chaos. That's Alicia Barrett. What a shame. She was doing such a good job up to that point. But now it's Bradshaw in front of Behrman. So, yet again, Bradshaw has got the jump on Oliver Behrman, just as he did in the first heat. And it started a bit of a difficult race for Behrman. He slipped as low as 5th in the heat yesterday, but fought his way back to 2nd. Now he's got a bit of space between himself and Kean Shields, so we can have a real rip-roaring race between the two. Bradshaw's got Behrman all over the back. Now, if I'm Oliver Behrman, I'm sitting right in behind Callum Bradshaw for the next 14 laps. I do not want to go for the overtake until I absolutely have to. Let's pull away and get the gap back to Kean Shields in 3rd. 4th place is Moya. Then it's Lahoz. Father McDonald is up to 7th place, would you believe? He's right up into P7 in front of Sean Butcher, who's come up 6th. And Nogales, Kimber, Boyer, De Oliveira, Vea, Rowledge and Gilbert. And that's a spin. Spin in the middle. That's one of the chaos sports that's going around. I think that's Guillermo de Oliveira. The Portuguese are, oh, there's been contact. Two cars have come together with damage. It looks like Platten has tangled in there with Balota. So I think that's Balota out of the race. Devastating for the Belgian. The 269 Sam Balota is out of the race after contact. Oh, it was Sean Butcher that spun. My apologies. And that's Behrman in the lead. Behrman has got through. I was so busy looking at the incident in the chicane that Behrman has got through already on Bradshaw. So Behrman leads, Bradshaw 2nd, Shields and Moya 3rd and 4th. 5th place is Lahoz, 6th is Vava. But Bradshaw is just going to sit in behind Oliver Behrman now. Can Behrman put right what went wrong yesterday? Can he defeat his main rival for this event? And Kean Shields is hanging on in front of Ruben Moya, Alejandro Lahoz and Philip Vava with Dean McDonald in 7th. There comes the move from Moya into 3rd. Lahoz tries to get through as well, but Kean Shields is too strong on the inside line. So down to 4th goes Shields, but his teammate Dean McDonald and of course his driving mentor and coach is getting into the action now. Philip Vava is up to 5th position as he makes the move on Lahoz. And now here comes Dean McDonald and Mark Kimber, 7th and 8th. I told you, they're not done yet. They are still going to make a factor in this race. Meanwhile, Moya has got Kean Shields right in behind. Behind Kimber is Marty Boyer. So there's still plenty of racecraft to come. McDonald has got past Lahoz in a P6 with the fastest lap. And there goes Shields back on the inside of Ruben Moya. So Kean Shields is back into P3. It's an all-British 1, 2, 3 then. 2 Englishmen and a Scotsman. No pub gags here, it's just rip-roaring racing. Behrman and Bradshaw in front of Kean Shields and Ruben Moya. Tyler Reid in the Argenti gets the fastest lap of the race. And Kean Shields is running well. 3rd position in front of Moya, Vava, McDonald and Lahoz. Still some great battles all the way through the field. Several drivers trying to make a comeback. And up the inside, no room there for Moya as Vava has got him. So Vava has got through on Ruben Moya. And there's a warning flag gone out for Cosseteng. So Cosseteng has had some kind of issue somewhere on the circuit as he tries to battle away. Maciej Chichko's making up places, as is Guy Cunnington. And that's a move from Dean McDonald. He gets through on Ruben Moya. So McDonald is now in P5. Now, this is an interesting dynamic because we're so busy focusing on Behrman and Bradshaw that if McDonald is able to get past Vava, then the 2 Strawberry Scotsmen are going to be able to charge up to the back of Behrman and Bradshaw and could snatch it from under their grasp. Mark Kimber sets the fastest lap of the race now. He's right there behind Ruben Moya. The Strawberries are ripening. Through to the left-hand apex. Down the short stretch to the hairpin. Behrman and Bradshaw. Into the left hairpin. 3rd is Shields. 4th is Vava. 5th is McDonald. 6th is Lahoz. And now 7th is Kimber. He gets past Ruben Moya with Mari Boyer in tow. And in 10th is Guillermo de Oliveira. This is going to be such a thriller. We're coming up to the end of lap 5. 1/3 distance in this pre-final to go. And Bradshaw's on the back of Behrman. They're trying to get away. Bradshaw is trying to push Behrman away because he knows if he looks behind them, the Strawberries are coming. Look, Shields is 3rd. 5th is McDonald. 7th is Kimber. And the second they get together, it's going to be absolutely a deer in headlights situation for the 2 leaders with the 3 Strawberries going together. So Behrman and Bradshaw still trying to push away. Bradshaw not going for the overtake. He wants to build a gap. And then he can battle in the final couple of laps because that is a very tough dynamic big line that's developing. 3rd for Shields. 4th for Vava. 5th for McDonald. 6th for Lahoz. 7th is Kimber. 8th is Moya. And 9th is Marty Boyer. Couple of incidents further back in the field. Teddy Williams running wide and dropping to the back of the pack. The only person behind is Alicia Barrett after her spin on the first lap. And Harry Platten's got a warning flag. Behrman just keeping an eye on things. Bradshaw still right there. Still able to close in on the toe. But there's no point going for the overtake. They've got 3 very feisty drivers in behind them. Shields is 3rd. Vava is 4th. McDonald is in 5th. 6th is Lahoz. 7th is Kimber. Now, in fact, if the Strawberries stay where they are, 3rd, 5th and 7th, they will all be on the same side of the grid for the final, and they'll be able to work together in the early stages of the final. They are setting up quite an incredible race for the final. This is team tactics and gamesmanship like you would not believe from Strawberry Racing. 3rd, 5th and 7th would put them in a line behind the 2 front row men on the inside line. They've got a great race coming up if they can keep this together. But up the inside comes Vava. He's going to spoil the party. Vava gets past Shields. Shields comes around the outside. McDonald is going to sweep by his teammate. Is he? No! Shields darts across to the inside line once more and opens the door for his teammate McDonald. Shields and McDonald 3rd and 4th now. And that tightens up Vava and Lahoz. Kimber is going to get them boxed in. Kimber's going to make the move in a 6th position. Wow, it's suddenly dynamic again. Shields is 3rd. McDonald is 4th. 5th is Vava. And 6th now is Kimber. If you are wearing green, white and red wherever you are around the world and you're a Tony Kart fan or a Strawberry Racing fan, get ready to start cheering because this is turning into a fairy tale chase back. Behrman and Bradshaw. Shields 3rd. McDonald 4th. Vava 5th and Kimber 6th. Then Lahoz, Moya, Boyer and De Oliveira battling with Josep Veja for 10th. Still great races in the field. Only Platten and Belota out of the race. Oh, sorry, so too is Connor Jupp. He's just retired. A real shame for Connor Jupp, as he was having a great weekend and a fantastic fight back and comeback a glory for him. He's been out of the seat for about 5-6 years and he's had a really strong run. So Behrman and Bradshaw still trying to pull away from the Strawberry 3E. 3rd is Shields. 4th is McDonald. 5th is Vava. 6th is Kimber. If Kimber can get into 5th position, then this is going to be an amazing final. So McDonald still hanging on from Vava. This is only half the story, of course, ladies and gents, because you've got Behrman and Bradshaw up front trying to get away. The 2 Strawberry teammates, the Sorcerer and his apprentice, if you like, Dean McDonald behind his young compatriot Kean Shields. And they are working together there, 3rd and 4th. Shields in front of McDonald. Vava is 5th, trying to keep Chaos Sport in the hunt with his teammate up front, Oliver Behrman. And then in 6th place, it is Mark Kimber, the 2-time IAME Euro Series title winner. But the Winter Cup has always eluded him. What if it happens this time? Down the back straight come the leaders. Behrman's actually got a bit of space now between himself and Callum Bradshaw. It's only a handful of kart lengths. But this is a very long race day ahead of us still. We've got 3 finals after this one for Mini, Junior and Senior. And they are going to be the 3 best races I've ever seen if this is anything to go by. Still they battle on. Still the fight rages. Behrman and Bradshaw up front. Shields, McDonald, Vava, Kimber, Lahoz, Boyer, Moya and De Oliveira. I know that Dad Seamus has flown in here today specially to watch his son battle away, and he must be pleased as punch. 3rd position in front of Dean McDonald for the moment. Still they charge after the leaders. They don't need to catch them yet, of course. If they can box in Vava and bring Kimber into 5th position, they've got the best possible strategy lined up for the for the final later, So Kimber is right in there. 6th position is good. 5th would be better. But Callum Bradshaw is still chasing down Oliver Behrman in the lead. They're about to complete lap 10. 5 to go. Fascinating stuff. This is how good karting is. This is how intriguing and exciting it can be. And everybody here on the edge of their seats as they watch. McDonald's going to switch with Shields. McDonald goes into third. Shields is going to help them try and catch up to the two leaders. So McDonald is third, Shields is fourth. That's going to box Vava in a little bit. Kimber's got a chance now. He uses a lot of curb, but he's not quite able to get on the inside of Vava yet. McDonald and Shields are boxing in Vava. Vava goes for the move on the inside regardless. So now they've got two choices. Kimber can go for the move on Shields, which he tries and it doesn't work. But Vava has now dropped back. McDonald is in third. Here goes Kimber on Shields, and Lahaz is going to go there as well. So Shields down to seventh. Now, this is not a nightmare situation yet. Shields hangs on and gets back into position there. Lahaz nearly losing out. But let's not forget that the Strawberries are still third, fifth, and seventh. They'd all still be on the inside line for the final. So the game plan is in a slightly different order, but it could still work out as Lahaz is now trying to warn the rivals behind. Shields and Boyer, come on, stop fighting with me, work with me. Well, you had the audacity to overtake us in the first place. Fantastic mind games going on out there. Lahaz jumps over the curbs. Shields and Boyer now working together with Ruben Moyer at the back of the queue. This is going to get pretty feisty. But look at that, Dean McDonald is suddenly in third. He's been nowhere all weekend, and now in the final reckoning, he's looking likely to start the final from third. All of a sudden, their late tactics and gamesmanship has brought them back into the hunt. Behrman leads Bradshaw. He's pulled away now. Fascinating, isn't it? Bradshaw beat him yesterday. Today, no chance. Not the way things are currently stacked up. Behrman leading, Bradshaw second, McDonald third, Vava fourth, fifth is Kimber, sixth is Lahaz, seventh is Shields. From Boyer, Moyer, Nogales, de Oliveira, Rowledge and Guy Cunnington. What a fight back from him in 13th. As up the inside, that's Ruben Moyer. So that is Ruben Moyer getting past, or trying to get past, I should say, Marty Boyer. Hasn't quite managed to get there. Cunnington, though, has got past Josh Rowledge. There's Callum Bradshaw, second position, tucked in behind Oliver Behrman. 3 laps to go. And last year's runner-up in the IAME Euro Series is still second in the race, having won 3 times yesterday. He's got plenty of opportunity to still take on Oliver Behrman, but he doesn't need to beat him in this one. He just needs to stay with him on the front row of the grid. They've got bigger fish to fry behind them if they don't get their tactics right. McDonald, Kimber and Shields are 3rd, 5th and 7th for the Strawberry Racing team, and they are likely to start tomorrow's final from the same part of the grid. Vava's got in on the inside of McDonald though, and that's shaking it up. Kimber and McDonald now side by side as they run to the first corner. Shields is going to get on the inside on Lahaz, and that's going to put them all together. McDonald, Kimber and Shields, 4, 5, 6. Now the trio are going to want to work together. So this is the chance. Kimber's actually made a mistake in the chicane, and that's not helped them out. He got too far over the curbs, and that's held them up a little bit. So now Kean Shields is going to have to try and have a run at Mark Kimber. Here he comes again. Mark Kimber's now defending from his teammate. Never mind tactics and gamesmanship. Kimber wants 5th. That would do him very nicely. And now Mari Boyer's going to drive around the outside of Kean Shields to get into 6th position. Lahaz and Boyer get through on the inside of Kean Shields now as well, down to 9th position. But there's still a battle to come on the last lap because McDonald and Vava are still dueling over 3rd. That's the best starting position they can hope for behind Behrman and Bradshaw. Vava's 3rd, McDonald is 4th. He looks back, he realises how big the gap is between himself, Kimber and the pack. And Oliver Behrman has got himself the best possible start to the day. He's out in the lead and he's got his teammate Philip Vava now in 3rd position. Or is he? Because McDonald's going to stay on the inside and grabs 3rd. Supreme from Dean McDonald. But now Kimber, ultra defensive in 5th, has got a massive traffic jam building behind him. He wants to maintain 5th, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to. As McDonald watches Vava drive right down the outside of the hairpin. Vava into 3rd. Supreme from Philip Vava. Oh, that's absolutely amazing. And now he and Oliver Behrman are going to be on the inside line for the final. Oliver Behrman dances through the final chicane, and for the 4th time this weekend, he wins. Pole position for the final is his. Vava's going to get there before McDonald. Just! Oh my word! What a final we've got in prospect now. Behrman and Bradshaw on the front row. Varva third, McDonald fourth from his teammate Kimber, who hangs on to fifth by a thread. Absolutely spectacular. So Oliver Bearman gets into the lead again from Bradshaw after the initial jump start. Well, not a jump start, I should say, but he launched ahead of him initially. But now it's Bearman who gets the pre-final. He is one win away from becoming the second driver in history to get back-to-back IAME Winter Cup titles. But Bearman's achievement would be slightly more impressive, of course, because Oliver Bearman would do it in different classes across 2 years back-to-back. Bearman wins from Bradshaw. I'm not sure why the timing screen says what it does, but that's not correct. It's Bearman who wins from Bradshaw. Varva is third from McDonald. Kimber is fifth ahead of Marley Boyer. Then Alejandro Lahoz and Ruben Moya from Dan Nogales and Guy Cullington, who finished in 10th in the end. What a fight back. Cian Shields is 11th from Tyler Reid. Then Guillermo de Oliveira and Josh Rowledge. Josef Weyer and Xavier Hansane. From Matty Chichko and Morgan Porter. Ivan Bataya and Matilda Olsen. Then Sean Butcher and Zach Ripley from Emil Karjalainen and Lewis Gilbert. In 25th, it is Rivaldo van der Westerleken in front of Urbaltsmoor. Then Jaime Sands, Teddy Williams, Max Meyer, Alessandro Serenetti in 30th from Alicia Barrett. And then the 5 retirements: Alejandro Schimpf, Eduardo Cosenteng, Connor Jupp, Sam Balota and Harry Platten. Brilliant racing so far. There are still an incredible 3 races to come from the finals. And when we'll crown IAME Winter Cup title winners in Mini, Junior and Senior, it's going to be the hottest ticket in town. Cancel your plans for the afternoon if you're at home. Make sure you're staying completely glued to the live stream. It's going to be epic.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve, you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna, you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris and you're listening to Downforce Radio.